What's up, guys? Just quickly, we forgot to talk about the World Club Challenge. Not really forgot, but we'd already spoken about it last week. So if you want our thoughts on the World Club Challenge, go to Pack Her Up Boys on Friday. Outside of that, we got through all the trials, so let's get into it.
Just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar, and the weekend done and dusted. Eels look to be winning the comp. Tigers, they're coming second, and the Titans, well, they are back. They're in the top four this year. They're locked in. Guarantee trial match form means everything. Incredible weekend of rugby league. I absolutely loved it, and I do think there's a lot to take from it. So we're going to get into it, guys. But before we do, the great Guru, how you going? Guru, how you going, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. As you said, a lot of big news stories over the weekend. I think I drafted one of the greatest Supercoach teams of all time over the weekend, though.
Oh, my God.
Brace yourself for that.
Oh, my
Got
God.
a few new favourites this year you'll be hearing a lot about.
Okay, so make sure to listen to Rue's podcast to get a better insight into his Supercoach team. Leagy, how you going, brother?
I'm going very, very good. Had a brilliant weekend playing in the Sport Shed TV charity match, hence the jersey, proudly representing the Goanna Academy, Greg Inglis's side. Cheeky sleeve sponsor as well there, Rugby League Guru. Not sure who that is, but anyway, that's nice to have. We got the win. 30 points to 26.
And you got a touch this time?
I did get a touch.
Wow.
Immediately got a touch, high contact, draw a penalty. That was my only contribution, but I'll take it for the team.
Okay, so leaning into contact so you might get a penalty.
I slipped into it so much. I like so much. But
respect.
It was very good. Very good.
Now, guys, huge announcement. We have a tipping comp, the first we've ever done on MberX. Download the app today. So join MberX to tip with me and the Thursday show. Brand new talent coming on the show. Well, a brand new show on Thursday. Going to be a preview. Going to be an actual preview. So obviously the old one was dribble and yarn, which I loved. But this one's going to be more focused on obviously previewing the round of rugby league, plus a bit of banter. There's always going to be a bit of banter. So can't wait to announce that. But we're going to be tipping. You can join our comp. Tip against us. It's on MberX, and this is how big we're going. If you join, it's free to join. Download the app on Android or Apple. We're just going to give $1,000 away to one random lucky winner. One random lucky winner. We're going to give $1,000 away. So join MberX. You can tip against us. It's free to join. Plus, also there's another tier where you can pay, I think, $9.99 a month, and it's like all these prizes weekly. I think they're giving away like $2.5 million over the whole year. So it's basically a tipping comp app, but a modern good one with stuff that you can win back. But yeah, it's free to join. One lucky person, we're going to give $1,000 to. So join, download the app today. Face us in tipping all year long. We're also going to be giving prizes away as well. So as you can see with the $1,000, we'll give more away as the year progresses. And obviously, as the year progresses, we'll talk about who's beaten us, who's at the top of the table. So you might get a shout out if you're going really well. MberX, download the app. There are many prizes to win, and they're exclusive. And there'll be also exclusive bloke content on the site. On top of that, Bloke Tipping. So the comp code to face me in the tipping comp is Bloke Tipping, all one word, and Bloke all capitals. Tipping lowercase, one word. It's case sensitive, guys. So make sure to be aware of that. But look, no face to music this week. Hammy, he is unwell, a bit of food poisoning. He messaged me this morning, so hopefully Hammy gets better. So let's just get straight into the Code Sports story of the week. Tyson, how you going, brother?
I'm good. I'm a bit sad. My fellow Tigers Patriot is not here.
Yep.
We had a big win, obviously, on Friday night, and we were ready to come in and rip in and tell you guys all about it. Apart from Parramatta stealing the preseason challenge from us, it's been a good weekend.
You don't like the setup of this points, hey? It should just be wins.
It should just be wins, and also like just quality of wins as well. You know?
We're getting into quality of wins in a preseason.
We've had 2 tries of the year before the season's even started, guys. Like this is some groundbreaking stuff that we're covering here.
Mate, what is this Code Sports story of the week? Go to codesports.com.au/bloke. Use code bloke. And yeah, get your discount. What's the code story of the week, mate?
We're going to stick to that game, but we're not talking about the Tigers. We're talking about Nathan Cleary, who has made my Monday night a bit more eventful. I'll be heading to Judiciary, and we're going to see if Nathan Cleary will be able to overturn his 2-match ban. He wants to get a downgrade. If he gets to a grade 1, it could be no games. But if he goes tonight to Judiciary and fails to overturn, he could miss the first 3 games of the year, which is absolutely wild when you think about it. We think about how Penrith started their year last year, obviously the win in Vegas, to then come back and go on a terrible run. They've got Brisbane in round 1, Cronulla in round 2, and Roosters in round 3. Brisbane up in Suncorp, and I think the Roosters are at Allianz. That game against the Sharks is one of those country games. but massive ramifications on tonight and on what Nathan Cleary can do in judiciary.
And so the reason for it's 2 weeks, though, because initially when you hear that, you're like, 2 weeks for that? But isn't it he has got carry on from last year's final series, I think?
Yeah. Look, it got judged a grade 2, right? So, and grade 2s are always, considered that kind of that punishment for a grade 2, that type of tackle. I think he's just trying to downgrade to a grade 1 though.
So he doesn't have carryover then?
I'm not too sure.
Could you check, please, mate? He does. So that's why it went. Is that why it went to 2 weeks?
But I didn't know why it carries over from last year.
I think it's 12 months, isn't it? Yeah, correct. So it's 12 months.
Then he's got the carryover, but he's trying to get it downgraded.
Did you check? Yeah, that's correct. No. Can you check whether the carryover got him to 2 weeks rather than it did? Yeah. And without the carryover, it would have been 1 week. Okay.
Right. So yeah, there you go. Right. The carryover obviously gets him to 2 weeks, and it's pretty steep, eh? When you look at the tackle, and I could only see one angle on the TV. I was there on Friday night, but then on TV when I watched it back, I could only see the one angle. They obviously think they have an argument tonight, but you'd think to start the year, Nathan Cleary needs to be there, or they could go 0-3.
Yeah, look, I need to see more angles because if I'm being honest, when I first saw it, I was like, did he actually hit his head? And then Makasini doesn't go off for a HIA. Now, granted, it doesn't just because you contact the head doesn't mean you're automatically going off for a HIA. However, I know it's 1 week technically, but 2 weeks, you'd have to think the force to suspend a player. You have to think the force would be enough to give someone a HIA. Again, I'm just kind of like logically passing through it. I would have been, I guess, okay with 1 week. I know it's his own fault that he has the carryover from last year, but I just need to see more because, as I said, I don't know if I saw direct initial contact. Maybe it bounced up, so I've got to see another angle. I'm always, as much as we can get as the NRL players on the field, get them on the field. I hate the system of if you go and fight it, you get 3 weeks. Like, what a weird. Like, I understand the legal system because you're wasting tax resources or whatever, and maybe it's in for a different reason. But like, what is the NRL going? Well, we don't want to waste resources, so if you do fight this, you get 3 weeks. Like, I don't understand that mindset as a game. Like, why are we punishing these players for taking a route they have a right to take just because, actually, being someone studying law, that's why a lot of when it's the government, you take a plea, is because they're trying to save financial resources, correct?
Yeah, exactly that. And the issue is that if you didn't have a punishment for fighting it, every single player would be incentivized to fight everything, and then you just get a massive logjam in the judiciary.
But how many times do players go on a fight it? A year? What, 10 max?
Well, yeah, but I'd argue that if they weren't facing a longer suspension for unsuccessfully fighting it, then they would be incentivized to just fight everything because why not? You got a chance.
Yeah, I guess.
But it is extreme to miss an entire additional game.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
Maybe another punishment. I don't know. Like the club has to pay the fees or some shit. I don't know. Like I'd understand there has to be a deterrent, but like going from 2 to 3 weeks it's almost like a lifetime. It's huge. Missing 2 rounds compared to 3 rounds. I know it's just one game, but you got to understand the NRL's a business. Like it's not just one game. Every game is important in the NRL. So that's where I kind of don't like that system of players copping bigger fines just for being like, especially like when it's so vague, like in the situation. Like I feel like I feel like they have every right to fight it because even me looking at it's going, I don't even know if he really had direct force to the head, blah, blah, blah. Garino, what do you think, mate?
I think the other thing that sucks, and I know it doesn't matter, but like if he's not juggling the ball, it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
If you look at when he actually regains the ball, his knees are completely bent. He's that much lower.
The mitigating circumstances.
I'm sort of, maybe it's a little bit tinfoily hat, but I'm wondering, is the game's best player not going to be there to play the grand finals round 1? I kind of think he'll be there.
And this is an administration that has shown in the past it wants its stars on the field.
Yeah, it's round 1. It's the most entertaining round of the season. We're kicking it off. You got the Broncos versus the Panthers.
Suncorp, yeah.
Fuck. I, as you just said, not many guys are challenging these things nowadays because not many guys win. For him to challenge it straight away, that kind of says to me that there might be something in that.
Lee, what do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, no, looking at the tackle itself, I sort of agree with you. I didn't see direct contact to the head on the angles that I could see. Maybe there's other stuff.
I needed an angle from the other side. Like there was an angle from, I don't even know what fucking side it was, but the stand side, I guess.
Yeah, I think the angle was the side. The one they showed on TV was from the sideline coming down, so you could see Makasini head. You couldn't actually see where the shoulder.
Yeah, I needed to see the other side to see where the shoulder kind of landed. But sorry.
But yeah, to touch on what Guru was saying, I mean, I was doing a watch-along live stream of the game, and immediately I said, I don't feel like he'll miss game time for that, purely because it's round one. It's such a big game. As a Roosters fan, given that they're playing them in round 3, I'm very happy to see them fighting it. But yeah, I think definitely tinfoil hat areas. If he does get off, there might be some more stuff to it.
Yeah, and I think another big, in their case, in their side of the argument, is like Makasini didn't go off. Looked fine.
But we have seen in the past, though, I think Makasini got up quite quickly. There's other players that would have stayed down. They would have milked it. They would have gone off. It's a trial, like especially towards when it happened in the half. A lot of those star players are playing the next 4 minutes and then they're going off anyway. So we could have seen that. Makasini did the right thing. He got straight back up. He continued to play. But yeah, like when you look at the history of people going to judiciary, that does not look like it's in Nathan Cleary's favour. Obviously, we did tinfoil hat and whatnot, and that the biggest stars should be playing, but they like to make an example of people that want to fight what they put down. It's the same structure. The people that are putting down the punishment are the people that he's going to fight, right? Like so. I'm concerned. I'm concerned for Penrith.
Well, I'll say this is like if there is an angle of direct contact to the head, I think 2 weeks
there is direct contact. What I hate, though, he is just so fucking low to the ground.
Where do you look at mitigating factors, right? Where do mitigating factors come into this? Because I think we can all admit that he's slipping, and like Rue said, he's dropping the ball and falling into that. If Nathan Cleary, when he rushes up, he's not high. He's landing him on the chest.
Yeah.
So where does mitigate?
Well, he ends up like neck.
He sort of makes contact with him, his shoulder and the head at the same time, I reckon.
Yeah. Is that a video or is that just a
No, I just paused it on that exact clip.
Can you play it? So just to watch it through, please. Jeez, I don't know. Like, does Makasini's head go into his shoulder, if you know what I mean? Like whiplash?
I see more neck than head. I mean, not that it matters that much. It is still high.
Initial contact is definitely shoulder.
I saw a clip from last year's grand final where Reece Walsh actually, it was shouldered directly to the head. He didn't go off.
That was, and Katoa was on his knees, hey?
Yeah.
Katoa or Coates? Coates?
Yeah, but he didn't go off. He didn't get sent off. He didn't get sin bin. And he also played the Ashes straight after. There you go again with
precedent.
Precedent. Reece Walsh is a big star.
Yeah.
Nathan Cleary's a big star. Big games coming up. Do those things play a factor tonight? Like,
I guess the argument for like precedent or whatever in that game, I think Hughes had already head hired someone, so like the ref had kind of already set the standard of like, okay, I'm not gonna 10 in the bin, couple of stars in the grand final if it's like, the player's fine, the guy was slipping. Yeah, it's a tough one. Watching that, like in that still image that you showed me, it's like neck or whatever. But when I watch it, it's definitely shoulder. Makasini's head comes forward. You could argue might graze his shoulder, but
you reckon it's definite shoulder?
From the other angle, it looks like definite shoulder.
If you're putting your shoulder into someone as tall as Makasini's head, you should probably miss weeks, right? He's a big guy. You would have to almost launch yourself off the ground to get to his head. But like you're saying, it looks as though he's hitting around.
He's pretty much on his knees when he does it, though.
Slipping up, yeah.
Like it's like a.
That's what I mean. That's where the mitigating. Yeah. That's where mitigating factors come.
If it is, the thing is this: if the first contact was the head, then Makasini should be taken off for HIA because like you're screaming out along that, hitting someone directly in the head, you're knocking them out. I don't care how strong you think you. I mean, strength doesn't come into it when getting knocked out. But if it was direct initially with the head, I think Makasini's out like a light because he came screaming out.
Yeah, he's flying.
I guess you could argue like Cleary was trying to put a shot on. He did by screaming out of line. He did increase the likelihood of something dangerous happening. But I don't want to go down this route because it'll muddy things too much. But there is a part of me sometimes where I was like, what about the onus on the player not to slip over, not to drop the ball?
You're not allowed to drop the ball, right? You drop the ball, it's another team's ball.
It's also part of why he's juggling the ball. He's got a player shooting out of the line. That's rugby league.
Yeah, that is rugby league. So the funny thing is like 1 week I could like kind of get around, and I know he's only got 2 weeks because of carryover. So it's like, but it just doesn't. It doesn't, even though logically it makes sense that potentially getting the 2 weeks because of his history, with the carryover, but it just doesn't feel right.
And it's also,
it just doesn't feel right.
If it's as you just said, like Nathan shot out of the line, he put a risk. Like if that was the inverse and Nathan Cleary's running the ball up and a rookie shoots out and Cleary drops the football, it's our play of the week. We're going, how fucking good's that?
Yeah.
Put pressure on the best player in the game, forced an error. Like it's got to go both ways too.
Yeah. So, and I think people that are sitting and say, oh, well, you're only saying that because he's a star. It's like, unfortunately, that's the world, bro. Like, I hate to break it to you, but that's the way the world works. I don't think that it should be like that. But if we just don't have black and white rules for players.
Yeah, and
I don't agree with it. I didn't make this shit up. I didn't start the world. I'm not the guy that created the world, guys. So just so you know. But that's just the way it is.
And I think if it is round 7, I think it's a completely different conversation.
Yeah.
I don't like, and I think the reality, like,
even
me,
Bronco
in the Fed
Suncorp
income department, I want the best players in the game playing in round 1.
Even Bronco Suncorp, like I want him at Suncorp, packed stadium, getting booed.
Yeah. Grand final, I don't want Jerome Hughes and Reece Walsh sitting on the field for 10 minutes or something like that.
And so I understand that people go, you know, it should be black and white. That's why it's considered like, I guess, a replica of a legal system technically. But it's like, that's just not how things work. That's just not, like, context matters. The time it matters. Like, what happened to Macassini? Macassini's sweet. He didn't get taken off for HIA. So there's no, because like for example, we like to say that we don't adjudicate on how bad the injury is. We absolutely adjudicate how bad the injury is. If he stays down there, there's not a single person complaining about him getting 2 weeks. Matter of fact, he probably gets friggin' 3 or 4 weeks if he stays down there because he shot out of the line, you know, blah, blah, blah. What do you think, Liga?
Yeah, look, the fact is, while the sport does have to have integrity, we are still fundamentally an entertainment business, so those other factors will come into it. I wanted to sort of highlight, say he is unsuccessful and can't play for the first 3 rounds. I think there's a bit of a question mark as to who plays halfback for Penrith. I don't see a particularly clear option. Guru might know.
It's definitely Jack Cogger.
Cogger.
They're very high on Cogger. He's going to play the whole year at that 14, it looks like.
Okay.
So he'll slot in with Blaze at 6, and I mean, he's done the job for Penrith before, so I don't think there's any hesitation there.
I realise why I've said that. Cogger is not listed on NRL.com's Penrith team. So I was looking through that being like, is it going to be Jack Cole or no, that makes sense.
I'll tell you the other thing that, thank Christ, we've avoided. As soon as I saw it, I thought, okay, there goes another Dally M option.
Oh,
potential.
fuck.
Like,
When I saw that.
I don't know whether that rule already existed or if we made it up in this situation or whatever. I don't care. For once, common sense has come home with a victory.
Honestly, my initial reaction when I found out about the Dally M thing is like, erase it. I don't give a shit. Just get rid of that 2-game suspension because Cleary absolutely should be running for the Dally M at the end of the year. It's so antiquated, this idea, using rules that were made 20 years ago for the game that is way different. Like, bro, 20 years ago, that's a good hit.
Yes, yeah.
That's a good hit.
It's on the highlight reel that we're sending over to Vegas at the moment to promote the game.
And we're all sitting here going, well, Macassini slipped, so that's his own fault. Yeah. Whereas, I get it. I'm not defending, like, saying, let's go back old school. We're literally killing each other. I was the one that was getting knocked out and getting picked back up. So I've been there. I've done it. I'm not saying go back there. I'm just saying, like, the rules were made then for a different game. The game, you get 10 in the bin, you get suspended, you get charged way easier in today's game. Yet we've got the same rule about if you miss 2 weeks in a season, you can't get a Dally M.
Whenever we have Dally M conversation, no one gives a fuck who the fairest is. No one cares.
It's the best player.
It's the best player. That's all it is. That's all it should be.
Well, and if you've missed game time as well throughout the season and still get enough points to win it, you'd only deserve it more.
Yeah.
So
it's a very, very strange rule. So, look, I'm a little bit torn because I understand the integrity of the sport. And if you said to me 1 week, I'd be like, I don't love it. He's a star. It's round 1. 2 weeks, I know it's from the carryover. It just doesn't sit right with me. As a Broncos fan, I want him playing in round 1. You know what I mean? Like, think about, like, the game will still be hyped up, but it needs Cleary there. It needs Cleary to have the full oomph, the full impact. I tend to lean towards you, Roo. I reckon the fact that they're going to fight it suggests there's a bit of... There's a scent in the air of justice for them.
Yeah, I think they... If I'm being honest, I think they've been tipped off to fight it.
Which is
no one fights. You hardly ever see guys fight.
They took a long time to make the decision. It happened on Friday night. It didn't come out until yesterday that they were fighting. We hadn't heard anything until yesterday either. It's not like we knew on Saturday. It's pretty wild. I guess, Kempy, as a former player, do you think it's worth fighting and potentially getting that extra week, especially looking at the first 3 rounds that they have? And then that Roosters game, if he misses that Roosters game, I mean, there were glimpses of how good the Roosters looked when they played on the weekend. And
I think so. If it's from 2-0, so you're risking getting 2 games back for losing 1 extra game. I think that's a fair trade. As in, like, if you're going on the odds of, is it worth fighting? Purely, you haven't been tipped off. You don't have a kind of smell of what's going on. You go, okay, if we win it, we get 2 games back, and it really sets our season up. If we lose it, well, it's just 1 extra game he doesn't get to play. You know, I think actually it is worth it on the balance purely of you get 2 back for risking 1 game. It's a good trade in my opinion.
I wonder as well if it's, you know, maybe they have or haven't been, you know, tipped off to fight it, but I wonder if it was part of Ivan that's just sitting there going, okay, let's call their bluff. You suspend your best player for the first 3 weeks.
Fair.
Yeah, take your best player out of the game for the opening 3 rounds. Let's see how that goes for you.
And it doesn't really matter realistically if he misses the Roosters game or not, because they're not a chance of winning. So whether he's there or not, doesn't matter.
Look, I just want Penrith to apply the blowtorch. That's all I want. Oh. Sorry, I just had to say it. Yeah, so look, it's a tough one. I think the fact that Makasini gets back up, he's good to go. I think they've got a lot of. If the NRL do want to, I mean, I don't give a shit because we'll forget about it in 2 weeks anyway. But if they were to say this is why we cleared him, there are things to show. He was basically on his knees. The initial contact wasn't directly to the head. Makasini continued to play. Like there are things you can use to justify, getting him off. Now, granted, there absolutely is going to be thousands of people that are just like, he got off because he's Cleary. Like, you know, maybe. Like it's happened before where superstars have just like it is what it is, unfortunately, and that's as you said, Leaguey, we are in the entertainment business.
Imagine if they were going to Vegas.
Oh, he's getting off every day.
Without a fucking doubt. Mate, I think the first Friday night game of the season against the defending premiers, he's playing.
Considering what we witnessed in the prelim, that crowd was insane. Like it was truly like folklore's the wrong word, but like the last time you saw Suncorp rocking like that, it really is only Origin.
Yeah. And the hard thing's going to be if he does get off this as well, which rightly so, I won't push back on you at all. There'll be a lot of fans that'll be like, okay, well, you let Taylor May push back his suspension a couple of years ago. Now Nath's allowed to play round 1. Like, yeah. I can get it. Look, the argument from we have to be black and white and everything, if that is your stance, I understand that's a reasonable stance to have. I really do. And I respect it. Like I go, yeah, that's fair. As long as you're, you know, the problem is people go, oh, I want it to be black and white, and then their player gets done, and they go, oh, no. Like, remember the time when this happened, or whatever? But for me personally, I think the fact that Makasini got straight back up, the fact that he was slipping, the fact that I'm still not convinced that the initial contact was with the head. Now, did his head whiplash forward and maybe graze Cleary? Potentially. I'm willing to go, you know what, let him play. And I think that because he is such a polarising player, I don't know why Cleary is polarising. Because he's so good, I guess, and he tears your team up every week, I don't know. But I think if he was a more loved player, more people would be saying, you know, let him play. In hindsight, like, I reckon you could count on one hand the amount of trials that Nathan Cleary's played in the last 8 years. It's wild he was playing, realistically.
Yeah, Charles is such an interesting
It's not like he's got a new halves partner he needs to get used to. He's like, nothing's changed.
And you saw in literally the first 10 minutes when they scored that try, it was just like business as usual for him. Like just bing, 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 try, top in the corner.
That's another thing as well, right? It's good that you mentioned the trials because the NRL worked so hard to make the trials, you know, a mini competition, right? Like to get viewers on TV, all those things. If Nathan Cleary is getting suspended because of a trial, are coaches, you know, doing what Ricky Stewart did this year and just not playing any of their stars?
Yep.
Is anyone interested in watching the trials now? Because, you know, we don't get to see any kind of NRL stars because there's a small chance, it might not even be small because a lot of us agree that tackle probably doesn't deserve a suspension. Is there a chance that they miss the season now?
I think it's definitely the direction it's going in. I got to the end of the week and I went, Ricky Stewart's a genius. What are we doing? There's 30 weeks to come. Why are we putting him out there for an extra week?
Yeah, such a long season, and it's kind of like, okay, if we drop the first round because we didn't get that just one preseason game in, you know, I'll cop that because we've got so much time to get it back, kind of thing. It is interesting, like getting suspended from a match that has nothing to do with the competition. Yeah, that's a bit of a weird argument. I'd love to. I mean, I'm putting you on the spot here, but it is a weird argument. Like I'm getting suspended from a comp that has nothing to do, essentially, with the actual comp I'm about to play.
Yeah, the only link is that they're both governed by the NRL, but I'm a big fan. I mean, this argument extends sort of to rep games that when it comes to missing fixtures outside of the NRL, it should pretty much just be fines, and then keep the week-to-week suspensions in season because, I mean, not to get us started on that whole other thing, but I think missing those bigger rep games is way too big a punishment.
Yep. All right, that's the Code Sports story of the week. Thank you so much for joining us, mate. Go to codesports.com.au, get your discount, use code BLOKE. No BS, all sports story, guys. The best in the business. You've got, your breaking news, but you've also got, whispers and rumors. But then you've also got some really cool long-form stories on players and sport athletes. Any big stories this week or yarns that you had last week with some players?
Yeah, we've got a few coming out. Last week was good. We had a few Tigers boys. Taylor May spoke, for the first time since he's returned. Samuel Afainu's looking to get Manasi back into the comp when he's up for parole later this year. So a couple of big ones, and they're all on code. And even yesterday, Jake Averillo potentially moving and things like that. It's the best place to get all your news from. Alrighty,
it is time for the Kayo Can't Miss moment. And I think we don't even have to. Guys, you already know what the Kayo Can't Miss moment is. It's Macassini's incredible try. He gave him the mac and cheese, baby. Absolute Mac truck down the side. That's two with the Mac. There you go. Boom, straight off the top of the dome. Macassini's try, it's one thing to do that in a trial against other people that are, around your experience level. Maybe you did it in the week 1, even week 2 potentially. But to do it in the last trial against the best team in the comp, essentially, against Dylan Edwards, against also Tungall got fended off. Also, I thought the 12 on that edge was doing quite well for Penrith as well. And also, listen, you don't start on the edge for Penrith unless you're a gun.
That's Kalani going. That's New South Wales Cup Player of the Year last year. It's not a bum.
I literally had in my notes before that, this Kalani going goes all right. He's going all right. Are you Kalani going to Vegas? Yes, I am. Anyway, fucking hell. Hammy's not here, so I've just got to throw a few in there, here and there. Macassini's try, look, as I said, technically, still a trial. I'll give you all of those caveats. It was the closest thing to Lomu I've seen in a very long time. Again, I'm not saying he's on Lomu's level or whatever, but we've seen guys say, for example, Sivo or Radraja, the last guy they bump. I'm trying to think, and maybe my memory is not serving me correctly, and Sivo did bump multiple people before he got to Teddy. But to bump a back rower, a big back rower, then to fend Tungall, a 4-time or 3-time premiership winning centre, that also is big enough to play in the back row, then to fully steamroll Dylan Edwards, one of the bigger fullbacks in the competition, known for his defence and strength in contact. It is unbelievable the try that this guy scored, and he's 18 years old.
Yeah, he. It sort of took me back to the early days of Latrell Mitchell when he used to have those duels with Will Chambers, and you have those moments where you go, "Oh fuck, no, this guy's the real deal." Obviously done it, 2 weeks in a row, Mac to Mac, you might say.
Holy shit! Yeah, holy shit! He's done it Mac to Mac, baby.
I said it last week. When I watch him, he reminds me of what Israel and Latrell looked like when they were young. You can just tell they've got so much size to put on, but they're balance, power, speed. It is in just such a unique spot.
It's just on another tier.
Yes, it's another tier. You know it when you see it. Trial, what I don't give a fuck. If I saw that at Oztag, you know it when you see it.
Yeah.
And he's just the way he moves. He is such a special talent. And I know there's other guys there that could Skelton and whatnot. But
no chance.
Fuck. I'll give it away if he's not there.
Oh, mate, he has to be. He has to be there. These other guys are good really good players. But we're talking about potential Israel Folau, generational kind of talent with this young guy. That's how good he is. Lee, thoughts on Macassini's try?
Oh, it's absolutely magnificent.
Fuck. Look,
it's getting worse. The first 2 Panthers that he beat, that was impressive enough. They were, I guess, a little bit side on. He was running down the sideline, but then to steamroll Dylan Edwards, I cannot remember the last time anyone did that to him. As you say, his defense is so notable. And the fact that he's 18, hasn't got his man strength yet, it really is just vibes of a young Stephen Crichton, Israel Folau. This guy has so much potential, and he really should be their starting winger. I think they've got that problem completely solved now.
Unbelievable. And what makes it even more magical, sometimes in a game, in the first half or something like that, or even a trial match, you're getting your contact right. So you're not complacent, but sometimes you can go into a tackle not thinking about the tackle. You're just kind of okay, here's a young guy coming through, and you get surprised by the physicality of a player. And so the next time you make that tackle, you're way more prepared and you're giving it everything you got. And the detail missing for a lot of people that didn't watch the game or like may have just seen the highlight, he had already tried to bump Dylan Edwards earlier in the game and just got tackled. So Edwards had already felt his strength, understood how strong this young kid was, and then when Macassini said, okay, I understand how strong Edwards is, I need to give this guy the mac and cheese, baby. He gave him that mac and cheese. He gave it to him. It was try time. That's the little detail that's missing. Like, it's not like Edwards got surprised by his strength. He'd already felt it. It is truly one of the great tries that you'll see for at least in trial matches, or you'll just see a rookie score. Like, it's one thing sometimes, like, can rookies come in and be faster than anyone else on the field? Yes. Can they have crazy ball skills that you've probably never seen before? But strength is something that is usually reserved for your mid 25-year-old, maybe 25 and up, is your stronger players. To do that as an 18-year-old, like, it's almost like physically that shouldn't be possible, because other guys that are also super strong have been in the gym, have been doing more contact, playing NRL for longer. To do that essentially in your, let's just say, if you include, like, let's say last week was an NRL trial or an NRL game, and then what did he play? One game last year? Yep. So basically his third game at NRL level. Last week wasn't fully NRL level, so you could go as far to say that was his second game of NRL, and he just bumped, the guy that's been the best, or at least one of the best fullbacks in the comp for at least 4 or 5 years now.
Well, yeah,
Crazy.
and if he is on that wing spot, okay, Buller's obviously at fullback. He'll have him and Taruva on the wing, centre pairing of May and To'a. I'm really happy with that. I think they're all very, very solid players who can get the Tigers to where they want to be.
Man, we spoke about it last week, but that May-Macassini combination... It is going to surprise some people, I think. It is going to surprise some people.
Yeah, for sure. And, you've also got, like, I thought Jerome Luai was unreal the other day, too.
Jeez, that battle. You know what, actually, we'll save it. We'll save it for the game. But, yeah, anyway, that's the Kayo Can't Miss moment, guys. Footy is finally here with the Knights v Cowboys and the Bulldogs v Dragons kicking off the season in Las Vegas this Sunday. Knights versus Cowboys and Hull KR versus Leeds Rhinos are alive and exclusive to Fox League, so you can only watch Knights versus Cowboys and Hull KR versus Leeds Rhinos on Fox League. I'm heading to Vegas thanks to Kayo Sports. I can't wait to get over there and get amongst it. The only place to watch all three games of rugby league in Vegas live is Fox League, available on Kayo. Every Vegas game is in live in 4K with no break string play live on Kayo. And also the Australia versus India women's clash, one of cricket's biggest rivalries, is happening right now as India face Australia in a massive multi-format series. It was a tough night for the Aussies the other night with India winning the T20 decider. Devastating stuff. I could barely sleep after watching that. But the ODI series kicks off tomorrow. You can watch every match live with no ad breaks during play on Kayo Sports. I just love that. I just love my cricket. And like people that keep writing like under NRL score updates, like, I thought this was a cricket page. Like, it's like, what's cricket? Like, seriously, who the fuck watches cricket? Who the fuck watches cricket? It's rugby league, baby. Just a massive turncoat. As soon as cricket rolls around again, I'll be like, this is the fucking best thing ever. Okay, let's get into it, shall we? Don't forget, guys, Aspley Mazda Service of the Week. It is in the Rabbitohs game, but just quickly, buy any CX3 or CX5 from Aspley Mazda X Rental sale, and one lucky person will be gifted a truly unique experience, a day at the footy in a corporate suite with ex-NRL legends Alex Glenn, Dral Yayi, and myself. Well, not a legend, but you know what I'm saying. Hosted by Luke Camilleri, the car man. CX5, the XCX5 2024 is 31500, and the CX5 Pure 26500. Drive away, give Luke your message to go into the draw, guys, to be potentially gifted an experience that you can't buy. The experience you can't buy. Okay, Warriors v the Dolphins. The Dolphins defeat the Warriors 38-34. And I tell you what, the story of this for me was actually the Dolphin juniors that came on, the rookies that came on towards the back end of the game. The Warriors looked like they had it essentially sewn up. And then the Dolphins young fellas came on, and they absolutely took the energy of the game to another level. And, whether it's this year or next year, like, they're almost getting into a sure thing of being a successful club. And it sounds a little bit silly to say, but, like, how many other clubs can you say... How many other clubs can you just, like, go look at the juniors and they are stacked in every key position, across the board, whether it's in essentially every position, they're absolutely stacked. And then you obviously look at their first grade side as well. Like, then you look at the club, you look at the finances. The Dolphins, I think both teams can take a lot away from this and be relatively happy with it. But the Dolphins, for me, with those juniors coming through, and there's a few that stood out for me, but those juniors coming through, they looked outstanding.
I don't think you'd be able to find a team through the history of the game that, like, for example, missed finals 3 years in a row and looked this good heading into the future. I personally think, if the Dolphins were to miss the finals this year, I think that's a huge failure for them.
Yeah.
I said that to Tom Gilbert last week, and he said, no, completely agree.
Yeah.
We want that pressure. We are a top 8 side. We train like a top 8 side. We play like a top 8 side. We need to be a top 8 side now. And I think the depth they've got is unreal. Some of the guys, Jersey 20 it was, he scored a try. Poinu, I believe it's pronounced. Love the look of him. Zach Garton, all these guys we've spoken about over the last few weeks. Rasmussen, another one that looks very, very talented. And I mean, we'll get an idea in 2 weeks' time what the Dolphins round 1 team looks like. But, mate, there's going to be genuine out-and-out first graders playing Queensland Cup for them, who I think would be in most sides. Like, I don't know how Ray Stone, even with a 6-man bench, I'm not sure if Ray Stone gets into this side. Nafahu, who we all love as a winger, I'm not sure where he is. Like, if Jack Bostock was available, I don't know where he is.
Well, there's a world where Nafahu and Bostock are not in the starting side.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I know he's injured, but
I think if he was available, I'm not convinced they'd be there. Yeah, because Selwyn looks unreal. Asako's looking great.
Like Asako as well, he's guaranteed, not guaranteed, but he's a great goal kicker.
Yep.
And it's a part of, like, it kind of gets overlooked a lot when players get selected. It's like, they focus on how he plays on the footy field. And don't get me wrong, like, Asako is one of the more underrated form wingers over the last few years. He was a top point scorer last year, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
I think every year he's played at the Dolphins, he's scored over like 13 or 14 tries. Like, he's done well. And so, like, yes, in regards to pure playing, could Bostock play better than Asako? Potentially. But it's the goal kicking that changes everything. Like, it changes a lot to know that you've got that good goal kicker there.
Yeah, and, when you talk about their depth, like, it sounds like Trey Fuller's not going to be in this round 1 starting.
I don't agree with that shit. That's
crazy.
I just don't get it. Someone explain to me how you can't get the best out of Hammer at centre. Like, what does he offer? He's a game breaker. You throw him the ball, he'll absolutely... Surely you can set the game up in the centre position up, that he is getting opportunities to have those moments while still having Trey Fuller giving you 250 metres a game.
And the other thing that I cannot fathom and make sense of is, like, how many opportunities does Jake Averillo need at centre before you look and go, there are better options here?
Especially where they're at now.
Kicking the door in, realistically. I think he's been underwhelming for the last year or so. Trey, honestly, like, if you put Trey at fullback for round 1 now, I would back him to be a top 10 fullback this year. I think he's got that sort of ability. I think he shows it every time he plays. I wouldn't have him in my top 5, but I'd have him in my next 5.
He's a gun. He's an absolute gun. Leggy, what do you reckon about the Dolphins, first of all, and then we'll just speak about that positional situation?
Yeah, for the Dolphins in general, so when they first put their side together when they came into the comp, the key thing that they did was sign the 2 Bromwich brothers and Felice Kaufusi. So shocked me that a few years later there's a crop of absolutely gun young forwards coming through who are rusted on in terms of all the 1%ers. I think we're really seeing that impact come through. When it comes to Fuller in the fullback position, he has the absolute patience of a saint, because every single time he comes in, he kills it. I don't know what more he could do to convince the club that he should be their starting fullback moving forward. And yet, year on year, he seems to just be the backup. By far, their best setup is what they've got now, or in this trial, but instead of Jake Averillo at centre, Chuck Hammer in there. As you guys said last week, Hammer is about getting him in space and getting him quality moments. You can do that in centre. We've seen him kill it in Origin, both in attack and defence. I don't know what more they need to see.
Yeah, I understand Christian Wolf being firm in like publicly being like, nah, he's my fullback, because I guess he's trying to really back the Hammer into... Because I think we can all agree, Hammer at his best and playing consistent footy and being involved in the game, every single minute, is the best fullback at the club. But how often have we seen that? Like, have we ever seen a full season where Hammer's played every game like that?
No.
Because I just don't know if that's not in his... It doesn't seem like it's in his nature.
Yeah.
He's a game breaker. He's a Ferrari.
Yeah, and at the same time, we've also seen him, when you put him at centre, he's one of the best centres in the world. Like, I don't understand how this team can ignore having centres of Herbie Farnworth and Hamiso. I can't fathom how they come to this decision.
You can build a whole game plan around those 2 centres, and it'll be an effective one.
Yeah, and you can also build a whole game plan, in my opinion, targeting Jake Averillo when he's in the line, because they don't have any other weak spots.
Well, you look at Hammer as well. Hammer is one of the rare centres that has locked up essentially every top tier centre in the game. Like
Yep.
Critter has bathed essentially everyone except for Hammer. I'm trying to think. Like, has anyone? Tommy Turbo was tearing us apart. Hammer goes in, locks him up. Like, I remember there was a crazy stat that we spoke about a while ago, where in his first 6 games or whatever, he'd missed 1 tackle in centre.
Yeah.
It's just like, so you're telling me a guy that not only that, he was about to break a record for 6 tries in 6 games or something like that for Origin. So it's not like he can't score and
even on the inverse as well. You've now got Trey Fuller coming off the bench. I look at Trey Fuller. I think he's an out-and-out fullback. Do we all agree?
Oh, 100%. I don't want to see
You
him
know what
do
Jake Everillo can do? Every fucking position in the back line. He is perfect to come off a bench for you.
Yeah. And he could probably, at a pinch, go in at 9 if he had to. Can play 6, can play 7, can play fullback.
Jake Everillo is a good footballer. If you put him on for 20 minutes as, a bit of a lightning rod on the football team, he'll be hard to handle.
You know what's funny as well is with the Averillo, and maybe I've in the past said he was this, but I actually think centre's his worst position. I actually think he's a better 6 or fullback than he is centre. Whenever he plays well at the Dolphins is when he's not playing centre, in my opinion anyway.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I'm not even convinced what his best position is. Probably points to he's a mad 14.
Yeah.
Which he is.
But in Fuller, with the All-Stars game that happened the other week, he literally kept Jaden Campbell out of that fullback spot. Campbell is a quality player to then not even make the Dolphins side for round 1, we think.
Which is crazy because I actually have Campbell ahead of Fuller at fullback.
So
every day of the week.
But that's the decision that was made on that day.
Yeah.
So goes to show how good he is.
But yeah, let's get in regards to the performance. And Trey Fuller was actually outstanding. I've got to say, and it'll be quick because we speak about Qatar every week, but there was some defence from Katoa that was outstanding. Earlier in the game, basically a one-on-one tackle with a front rower for a try saver, and then 20 minutes to go, another try saver, one-on-one tackle with Katoa. And I just love to see that, he's not a perfect attacking player by any stretch, but really, what else could you ask from Katoa in attack? There's not much more that he can add to his game that's going to improve it. It'll improve it a little bit, 1 or 2, 3, 4%. But defensively, that's really where he needs to, understandably so, he's a rookie. Every half's going to have this issue. And I just love the fact that that's hard evidence of Katoa going, okay, this is the area that I could skate by for the rest of my career, not having to worry about it because I'm so good. But no, I'm going to put the hard yards in and really put my body in front. The try saver on a front rower on your line, it's outstanding stuff.
Yeah, and I think because of how far he's come in attack and all the highlights and everything, it sort of has been left behind. But when it was only 2 years ago playing for Tonga, he was a spot defender out and out. They were picking him apart. But you were saying, okay, he needs to get the reps in attack. The way that he's just leveled up his entire game has been incredible.
Yeah, crazy. So that was in the 12-minute mark. It was a one-on-one tackle on Ford, who strong ball runner, very strong. And then 22 minutes to go, another try saver from Katoa. So, it's good stuff. In regards to some other guys, I've got to say, I only got very, very quick look at him, but I think Watts Luke, who was actually, I messaged the Dolphins, Amir, he used to work at the Dolphins, and he's actually the son of Isaac Luke.
Yeah, Isaac Luke, yeah.
And so he just looks like a super athlete. So just the way he moved, how explosive he looked. Now, apparently he's a touch footy player. I think his best position is fullback, potentially a long-term option. Obviously still very young, but looks really, really, really explosive. And the other guy who was outstanding was Puini. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I'm probably
Poinu, I believe it is.
Poinu. Yeah. Poinu, he's a back rower, and I think he's been rushed into their top squad as an 18-year-old, and they have huge raps on him, and potentially maybe the reason why they allowed Orion Keeley to go to Melbourne because Poinu was so highly touted, and we saw it on the weekend with I'm pretty sure he scored a try towards the end there. He looks special.
He's an outside back though.
Oh, is he?
Poinu.
Apologies.
Yeah.
But yeah. He looked outstanding.
As you said, though, they've got Isaac Luke's son and Nathan Feen's son coming off the extended bench there.
And apparently Nathan Feen's son has killed it in the preseason.
Yeah.
As well. So Ponu is he's an outside back because Amir, who used to work at the Dolphins, they see him as a back rower, but he could be obviously wrong.
Yeah, right.
He could be wrong. Unless, anyway. We'll see. All I know is he looked friggin' outstanding. And to be able to name that many players that are still so far away from first grade, that just shows you how crazy their depth is. I thought just with Molo, I love the aggression, bro. I love it, but like, bro, there's smart aggression and there's silly aggression, and I just thought that tended to be. And I know it's a trial, but now he's going to miss 3 weeks.
Yeah, I reckon he went into that thinking, I've got to make a splash here to get into this football side.
Oh,
Well, he does need to make a splash. They've got so many quality front rowers, and his stats weren't bad. I mean, obviously, aside from that sin bin, 22 tackles, 0 missed, 117 metres, but went a bit too far over that edge.
I agree with you 100%, but I can see, I'm sure he's looking around that squad going, fuck, I don't know if I get into this team.
Yeah, you're right. I just, because I actually think since he's gone there, and actually there were moments at the Dragons where he was great too, but I think he's been great since
he's
went
a good player. Yeah, I like him.
But it's leaning into, though, that what I was speaking about last week is sometimes the Dolphins can have dumb aggression, where it's just like, I understand Christian Wolf, that's the kind of style of coach he is like this old school, hyper aggressive, and it's good. It's what you need in rugby league, and I think a lot of teams actually miss it. But you've got to be smart about it. Sometimes they can be a little bit silly.
What have we made of Morgan Knowles in the preseason?
I got my note here. I think it's a really good example of a good Super League player realising that NRL is another level. That try that came through the middle there, that's just, in Super League you get away with turning in like that, trying to pull off. Because the reason why I don't want to knock him too hard is I love the energy that he had there. His energy was, I'm trying to make a play here, I'm going to jam in on the guy in the final. But that's why, sometimes some people argue that New South Wales Cup is actually more physical than NRL, because NRL it's much more classy, it's much more silky.
Yep.
Like, they don't get caught up in that stuff too often, NRL clubs, and also they identify when a player is doing things like that. And so I think he missed 6 tackles last week. And so I really like him. However, he's definitely not my starting 13 if Plath is injury free. I would have him on my bench, but I do think you're just seeing it's going to take him a little bit to kind of just iron out those kinks, but I think he's a good solid player.
Yeah, because I think Plath has a chance for round 1, but I think it's sounding more likely he'll be round 2 or round 3. You've obviously got Jeremy Marshall-King out, so Donohoe, I assume, will be the 9. So yeah, I reckon Morgan Knowles will probably get first crack at that 13.
Yeah, not mad at it. I just think that you can see in his game he's just got a little bit to kind of get used to the timing of first grade, which obviously he would.
100%.
But there was just like missing 6 tackles last week, and then this week I'll apologize to get out. Lee, thoughts on Morgan?
Yeah, I mean, I take a bit of a glass half full approach with him. I obviously watch him in the Super League. I reckon it will just take time for him to get used to the standard, because as much as I do enjoy the Super League, NRL is substantially faster. But I think that will come. I reckon, yeah, he'll be probably their 13 in round 1 just because of the unavailabilities. But as soon as Max Plath is available, he's so well suited to being a modern ball-playing 13, and you can simplify Knowles' role off the bench.
Yeah, and I love the attitude that he brings. Like, I just love that he's in the game. And also sometimes it's hard just to even be noticed in trials.
Yep.
Like, the fact that we're noticing him and you're identifying, okay, that was pretty good there or there. So he's not setting the world alight, but he's doing enough to go, okay. So yeah, I think he's going to grow into a good first grader. It's just those little moments he's just going to have to be like, okay, that extra meter that I had in Super League, it just doesn't exist in the NRL,
yep.
In my opinion anyway. But outside of that, look, good trial for Flegler again. Came on, looked strong. Geez, I love his defence. Couple offloads as well. Yeah, I think the biggest question, I guess, long term for the Dolphins is like, how do you keep all these young guns? Because like Nafahu, is it Nafahu? It's Nafahu.
Yep.
On the wing, he's not a Queensland Cup player. Like, absolutely not. Bostock, absolutely not a Queensland Cup player. Yeah.
What I would say with that, I mean, yeah, the fact is they won't be able to keep them all, but it's a very good sign as we're looking to expand the competition, adding 2 teams in the next 2 years, that sides like the Dolphins, when you have this much quality coming through, it shouldn't dilute the competition too much.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I've always felt, and obviously there are at times, like looking at the trials last couple of weeks, of like, ooh, are we stretched? Like, it does seem we're stretching our talent pool a little bit, but I've always felt the biggest factor in regards to, is there enough talent in the NRL? I just think there's not enough good systems in the NRL. I think that's the difference. Like, look at the Eels, look at the Dogs now. I mean, even the Titans, they essentially got all the same players, but the system has changed.
Yeah. But I think the other thing is with those, I think however you want to, look at it or call it or whatever, I think so, like, You look at Canterbury. That has just been a long-term plan. That's been an oven plan. Everyone's trying to microwave things now.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
You've just got to stick at it long-term. Dolphins are a fantastic example of that.
Yep. I'm with you. Okay, quickly onto the Warriors. Pretty happy. I think the biggest takeaway from me was Sam Healey. I thought some of his touches were just magical. So the Leotawa try, that was actually all Sam Healey. And it sounds silly saying that because there were other people that like had the last tip on and made the space. But if you go actually back and watch the play before that, where Boyd nearly scores, this is such a good example of learning off the number 9 that has your spot right now. So Egan, what is he so good at? He's so good at coming out, squaring up, keeping his body square, and almost no-look passing out the back. And by doing that, all he is doing is holding up that A defender for a split second. But that's all you need, because you hold that A defender up for a split second, it's just a trickle effect all the way to the wing. And sometimes as a fan, you watch the game and you're like, how did that winger just like stroll over the line? It's because at number 9 or 7, either one, they have held up that inside man so far that they've had to jam in. And if you go back and watch that Leotawa try, both plays were the space on the outside all started from Healey getting out, squaring up, doing that out the back pass that Egan does so well. And that was the most exciting thing for me is that, you know, Egan, obviously we want Egan on the field. And obviously when you actually look at the numbers of game played, he's robust is probably the wrong word, but it's more than you expect with how many times you do see him get taken off for either a head knock or whatever. It's just good to know that at least the next, you know, if Egan is, you know, he's not that old yet, but let's just say he continues to get injured or isn't as robust as we may have thought. I mean, Healey's not that much of a downgrade, even right now as a youngster.
Yeah, he's not that much of a downgrade if they need him, but I just also think as a 1-2 punch, they're perfect.
Oh, yeah.
I love Wade Egan. I think he's such an underrated hooker, but I don't want him out there for 70 minutes.
I never wanted him out there for 70 minutes.
I really like it. I think that Sam Healey comes on, he's a slightly bigger body. He just ticks all the boxes that you want, and they wouldn't be paying him much either. I think it's unreal.
It's just, and you're getting match times into him so that if anything does happen, he can play longer minutes.
And the beautiful thing about the Wires too is that you've got guys like Kurt Capel, Lecker, who can play multiple positions, do multiple things. All their back rowers can play centre, all their centres can play back row. So you can just run with that 2-prong hooker.
Yeah. So I just, mate, that hooking position, it's a one where I'm trying to think like, have the Warriors ever been renowned for their number 9s? Like, probably not. And apologies if I'm forgetting someone, but, you know, obviously they've had good 9s before. But, like, right now, as a 1-2 punch, like, at their best, you could argue they're one of the most crafty 1-2 punches. Like, usually there's a balance of, like, okay, here's our tackle machine, here's our crafty guy. I mean, they're both pretty well-rounded. I'm not saying they're the best 1-2 punch. I'm just saying, like, they're pretty far up there.
They're very well-rounded. I think they're very much so suited to the modern game, which I like.
Yeah. Lee, thoughts on the Healey-Egan partnership?
Yeah, I was going to say Healey could well be a beneficiary of the change to the bench rule, the number of players you have on the bench, because I know particularly through last year, the number 14 was often Tamaide Martin or Chanel Harris-Tavita. But now that you can have those 6 players, Healey will get more game time. And yeah, they're just so suited to the modern game in terms of the ruck speed of it. To have 2 quality 9s who, as you say, are crafty, but also pretty well-rounded, will suit the Warriors very well. They've got so many attacking weapons, so just getting quality service out to those guys is very important.
Yep. Another one straight out for me. He didn't necessarily set the world alight, but I think there's a bit about this Hansen fella coming through. I like him. Like, he looks like an out-and-out number 6. I know he might have had an error here or there, but there was like a line break. Like, there's just something about him that I can't quite pinpoint it because it's like he's not the biggest, he's not the fastest. It's not like I'm looking at, you know, RTS or Benji when it comes to footwork, but he puts it all together so well. Like, there's just something about Hansen. I don't mind at all.
Mate, as far as like just the amount of halves they've got over there and quality halves is crazy. Like, we haven't even said Jack Cleary's name this preseason.
Yeah.
And, you know, you've got Tamaide Martin, who's now injured. You've got Chanel Harris-Tavita under a cloud. You've got Hansen that's come in and done a good job. You got, you know, Chance could play 5'8" as well.
Yep.
They are absolutely stacked over there for halves.
Yeah.
And every single time one of them goes to a new level, they seem to jump out of the ground.
Speaking of halves, like, isn't Tanner Boyd just I can't put my finger on him. Like, sometimes I watch him and I'm like, he's so safe. I feel like I'm being rocked in my mother's arms. And I'm just like, he's a good, conservative 7. He's never going to be Joey Johns. He's never going to be, you know, Sam Walker or whatever, but he's just going to get you around the park. And then you watch him sometimes in NRL and you're just like, he's not NRL level. He's just not at the NRL level, and he's never going to be because he's had a few opportunities. And so I don't know, like, one day I'm feeling safe as houses with him, and I think he's almost the perfect 7 for a Metcalf 6. And then the other day I'm just like, I don't know if he's ever going to be NRL level. Am I crazy, Roo, feeling this?
I like Tanner. I always have. I think that...
I do too. I'm just saying, it's just like, where is he in NRL 7?
I think he is, yes. I think he's on the lower end of it, yes. I don't think he's a superstar, but it doesn't say on the tin he's a superstar for me. If I had an NRL club and I had stars in other positions, I think you can get by with Tanner. Personally.
Well, I guess, what club would he be a starting 7 at?
Without going through it off the dome. But I think he's a good lower tier one. If I'm at the Dragons, he would be my halfback.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. I'm doing this completely off the head, obviously. But I think his kicking game's really good. I think he's a serviceable halfback that if you give him a simple game plan, he can execute for you.
Did you feel he did good enough when he did get a bit of a run at the back end of last year for Warriors?
I thought he did, considering the injuries they had and whatnot. I think everyone sort of acts like the Warriors fell off a cliff. They went from, I think, 4th to 6th, and they were 4th with 2 rounds to go. So, and I mean, his New South Wales Cup team was on fire all year. He did really well. If I'm a team that's in a little bit of shambles and I don't have a great forward pack, I'm not feeling great about Tanner Boyd.
What are you more confident in saying? He's an extremely good New South Wales Cup player, or he's a okay NRL 7? They could be mutually exclusive.
Thing, I think, yeah.
Well, I'd be more confident in going, he's an extremely good New South Wales Cup player, whereas I'm not sure he's an NRL 7 yet. And that's where I get confused. Like, sometimes I watch him and I go, absolutely he's an NRL 7. Like, it's lock it in. He's a good solid 7. He's not saying that he's going to cost you $1 million. He's not saying he's going to be Joe. He's going to get you around the park or whatever. But then some games I watch and I'm just like, what the hell happened there? Leaguey, what do you reckon, mate?
If you want an option between those two, and this is sort of where I see him, I think he'd be so suited to the Super League. I reckon that, like, I like the fact that he's staying in Australia and fighting for that NRL dream still, but I reckon if he found a club over there, he'd be very, very good. He'd be able to dominate games in ways that we don't see him doing in the NRL. And just, as we said, with the number of halves the Warriors have, being at that club, I don't know if it's the best spot for him to actually get those opportunities, even though when he gets them, he does have good moments.
Because, like, he couldn't, with the Titans, he couldn't hold that 7 jersey. Now, granted, the Titans issue
I'm not
of 7s.
holding that against him.
I
refuse to do that.
So, like, just because you're not a week in, week out 7 in the NRL doesn't mean you can't obviously be a good backup 7. And right now, I think if I were to, like, gun to head what is Tanner Boyd, he's a great backup 7. If I'm an NRL club, could I trust him as 7 week in, week out? Yet that's where I just get confused, because, like, sometimes I'm like, absolutely I could lock him in. He's so safe. He's great kicking game, really long, good solid defender, and then other games. But on the weekend anyway, it looks like he absolutely was an NRL 7. Looked great.
Put it this way: if the Bears signed him as their main halfback, I'd be a little bit concerned about them. And that's not a criticism. You need to be a really, really good player to be an NRL halfback, particularly a star one. But yeah, I wouldn't be that convinced. Yeah,
and so that's where he's such a hard one to place, because I want him to be a 7 because I'm such a fan of him. I love the fact that he's backed himself, stayed to the Warriors, because he actually didn't he get an offer from somewhere and he said no to be loyal to the Warriors? I think he did. Could you check that, Matty? But yeah, it's just because, like, put it this way, in regards to, like, combinations, I want him to be the 7 and I want Metcalf to be the 6. That actually works combination wise. It's the best fit that I can look at that club right now. I think that, like, right now, Metcalf at 7 with Tomato Martin at 6, pretty good. Like, I don't know if it clicks as well as I would like. Now, granted, were playing quite well with those two together, but just in regards to, like, traditional, what you would expect a 6 and 7 to play like, those two combination wise, I feel like they could do some good work together. But they actually have gone better when it's been Metcalf and... Well, actually, have we ever seen Boyd and...
No, it's been Metcalf and Chanel Harris-Tavita.
Yeah.
Harris-Tavita. Okay, well, sorry, Harris-Tavita.
But I think what allows them to do that is that they've got a very stable fullback in Chance and serviceable hookers in Egan. So it allows the halves to be a little bit more expansive and don't need to be as traditional.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's an interesting one with Tanner Boyd, because I thought the reason why I'm saying that, because I actually thought he was great on the weekend. He was really bloody good. Harris-Tavita, he's another super interesting one, because, like, has he locked down that 6 for you? Like, you're like, he is a 6 in the NRL.
Well, I mean, like, he hasn't played this preseason, obviously. Mate,
of course.
I thought last year he was really good for them. I thought with about 8 weeks to go, and it was like, who the hell is going to win the Dally M 5 out of the year? I was like, Chanel's actually been okay this year.
Yeah. Are you confident to say that's his position? He's an out-and-out 6?
No.
Yeah.
But I think he's probably the best 6 option that's at the Warriors. But I feel the same way about all of them. Like, I'm not convinced Luke Metcalf's a halfback.
Yeah.
We have this argument about Tomato Martin all the time. I still don't know what he is. I'm still not even totally convinced if I know what Charles' best position is, if I'm totally honest.
But anyway, look, the good thing is they're making it work. At the end of the day, whoever it was there at the start of the year, they were sitting in the top 4. They came 6. Metcalf was going to win a fucking Dally M. He was playing that well. So who gives a shit?
It's quality depth.
Yeah, absolute quality depth.
Yeah. And I think that's the other thing. When he did come in last year, Tanner, they'd lost Mitch Barnett. They'd lost Metcalf. And I think if Metcalf's your halfback, you're building a game plan around Metcalf.
Yeah.
Tanner Boyd couldn't be a more different player than Metcalf.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to make it work on the fly with 5 weeks before finals and everything, I thought he did a pretty good job, all things considered.
On the note of Chanel Harris-Tavita, it could be a very big year for him to lock down that spot because NRL.com has him coming off contract at the end of 2026. That is a bit of a flawed page on NRL.com. I don't know how accurate it is, but he turns 27 as well this year. So he did take a bit of time away from the game, which might have
I love him as a player.
Yeah.
What I do know is he's a first grader.
Yeah.
I didn't give a shit where you throw him. Just get him on the field. Like, he's such a strong defender. At the worst, he's a 14 in a club, in my opinion. But he has had really good moments at 6. Anyway, outside of that, I thought Jackson Ford looked as strong as he's ever looked. He's just the error that he's got to get rid of. But geez, he gets through a lot of work. I'm always getting to the point of like, do you just give him that error a game? Like, because he gets through so much work? I don't know. But I thought Jackson Ford looked great.
Yeah, he was good in this, mate. I've always loved Jackson Ford, but he is just so up and down. Like, he has games like this, and I'm like, I know you can do this.
Yeah.
It's just doing it consistently. I don't think he'll be in there 13. I'm not convinced he'll be in there 17 for round 1.
Really?
From what I've heard, yeah.
Wow.
I think there's a lot of but in saying that, like Lecker's fallen out. Like Jacob Laban, he's been tipped to start in round 1. I'm pretty sure if you have a look, they didn't put him on the plane to Vegas 12 months ago.
Yeah, he was upset. It was a bit of a drama about it.
Huge, yeah. It's
Actually, thank you for reminding me because I'm a little bit worried about some of these younger Warriors forwards.
The optics are weird at the moment. I can't work out.
To be honest,
going to fall.
And look, like I had played terribly at the Warriors, so if I can take it for a grain of salt, I'm just a fan in this regard. I'm getting second year vibes. We killed it last year. Everyone thought, everyone was talking about us, giving us raps. We were just steamrolling people. So far, it's just trials. Things can change quickly, but that's what I'm getting. I'm getting young guns that might just be a little bit comfortable. That's what it feels like, and that's coming from a guy. I got comfortable myself. You have this crazy first couple of years. You get into the second year, you're young, so it's not that you're getting arrogant. You're never getting arrogant. You just can't in a footy environment. But you're getting like, you almost expect things to happen. Like, this is how good I am. Like, I'm just a gun. And then you go in and the little 1%ers, like that little extra carry you could have had or the little trail inside in defense or whatever, you just don't do it not because you don't want to do it. It's because that extra motivation of like, this isn't granted. It's not an expectation that you play like that. You got to earn it every time you cross the line. That's, as I said, that's coming from someone that did have that happen to me, and I'm getting a bit of that vibe from some of these young forwards at the Warriors.
Yeah, I think their first team list is going to be very interesting to see who lands where, because you've now got Taines or Pickers back in the mix. For me personally, if he's available, he's my fullback.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be moving Chance to the centres for me personally.
See, I just think that the system Webby has just works so much better with Chance at fullback. I'd be keeping Chance at fullback. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think it depends who you have in the halves, as I said earlier, in terms of that expensive play. But on the note of the forwards, like if any of them do get complacent, they're going to get found out in this side because we saw them all come through last year, but they've added in Morgan Gannon as well, who's a good young forward.
Yeah, he looks pretty good. He looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's so much competition there. They really can't afford to slack off. On the note of Jackson Ford, you mentioned earlier, and Guru said he might not be in that starting side. The fact is, he'll be behind JFH and Barnett, obviously. They got Niukore, who could play in the middle. Vaimunga, they started a prop in the trial last week. And then Tanner Stowers-Smith as well, who I rate very highly. So
he's had good trials.
Yeah.
He's had good tries.
So there's just so many of them that they can't really afford to
Here's a question for you. Let's say Baumunga and Lecker didn't have the year they had last year, and you were picking round one purely on how they played in the trials this year, they're not in my side.
Well, Matt, with Lecker, it's not even how he played. They didn't even give him the opportunity to show it. They picked him at centre, and they picked him off the bench. They haven't even given him the chance to explode in the back row.
Yeah, but even it's like I understand what you're saying, but you still got to get involved. Like you still got to.
I know for sure, but I think it says a lot about where Lecker's at, the way the Warriors have gone about this. Why, he's meant to be the next guy. They finished 6th last year. If he wasn't in the side, they probably finished 8th or 9th. He won them 3 games of football.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yet he's centre, and then he's coming off the bench for Laban, who you didn't even. He took 25 dudes to Vegas last year.
Yeah,
Laban wasn't one of them.
You could be completely right. I'll admit that when I saw him named at centre, I saw it more as sort of them thinking, okay, we'll see if you can get a bit of versatility into you. We'll give you some time there. We know you're a good back rower. We've got that faith in you. So I interpreted it a little bit differently, but you could be completely
right.
I don't think he has the experience.
Yeah, I was about to say. He's still a rookie.
Starting out in the NRL, they don't trust him to play 80 minutes week to week. They've got to get some
minutes into
the legs. Yeah.
And also, yes, he won the multiple games, but he was not the complete package last year. There were multiple times in defence where he either was gassed or tired. And I sound like I'm being harsh on Lecker. It's only because we're talking about greatness.
Yeah.
We're not talking about just a rookie that kind of comes in, is pretty good, and you go, okay, you'll be lucky to play a few games this year, and then the next year hopefully we develop, and then the year after that you're a full-time first grader, and we're talking about a guy that at the end of his career could have a highlight reel that literally lasts 20 minutes. That's how talented he is. And so when you're talking about these boys, it sounds like we're being hypercritical, but it's because we expect and appreciate them for what they can bring to a side. Yep. And so I'm just getting a little bit worried about these younger guys that had a great year last year. It's tough. They're so young, man. Fuck me. We're talking about teenagers essentially.
In 5 weeks' time, we're going, they were just trials.
Yeah,
we're good.
We're good.
We can only talk about what's in front of us. I don't have them in my top 8, and I know Warriors fans get upset with that, but 2023 was an unbelievable year. You finished 14th again the year after. It's not like the evidence isn't there.
For sure. Concerned. And so, yeah. And look, to be honest, even if these young guys have a quiet year, I'll grant them that. They're young. This is all part of the journey. You won't be the first young guy that has a quiet second year. You won't be the last young guy that has a quiet second year. It's just the way life is. These guys are so young. They're developing still. So give them a bit of grace of time. But it's more just we hope they'll be great. Anyway, we have stayed on that fucking game way too long. Okay. On to the next game. Before we do though, guys, Lontel, huge giveaway. I'm feeling super, super generous. Guys, lontel.net.au/bloke. I'm going to give $1,000 randomly away to people that sign up. It's totally free to sign up. Free trial for 7 days. You get $25 credit. And also, if you sign up, you can go to your own portal, generate a code, you give it to your friend, they sign up, and you will get $50 cash. So it's a win-win. Give it a try, guys. And setting it all up is super easy. Just give them a call. Seriously, it honestly, and I'm not even exaggerating, it took literally about 3 to 4 minutes for my internet to get set up with Lontel at home. Maddie, how long did it take to you when you rang about the studio?
Yep, same for my home as well. It was unbelievable customer service.
So when usually I know what you're thinking right now. I'll give him a call. Oh yeah, Kempy, I'll sit in call waiting for fucking 40 minutes and then speak to a guy that does it is like, oh actually you're in the wrong area. I need you to send to somewhere else, and then you sit there another 40 minutes. Not like that at all. You call, they answer, and they go, what do you need? Yep, this is your email address. Okay, what's your address? What's your home address? Boom, boom, boom. Yep, should be sweet. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to guarantee it works like that for you, but that's what it worked like for me. They've won customer services year 5 years in a row. It will be quick, guys. You're not sitting on you're not sitting on call waiting forever, and you're getting through to a person as well. So tell your mum, tell your neighbour, tell your sister, be a good bloke, tell the footy team. Anyone that uses your code that you generate in your profile gets 7 days free and $25 credit, and you get $50 cash. You can keep it as credit, or Lontel will literally give you the cash. Footy is coming in 4K. Here's another thing. Let's say your streaming service or whatever is lagging. In regards to you're watching the footy, it's lagging. You can literally call Lontel, and more than likely, they can help you sort that lagging out. That's how good they are. They've specifically told me that they've helped people with that. So, guys, get around it. Give them a call, whether it's sport, YouTube, Twitch, whatever, basically everything. Most people have a TV capable of 4K now. You got to ask yourself, are you even seeing it in 4K? Obviously, Lontel can give you that. Alrighty, now let's get into the game. West Tigers defeated the Panthers 26-12. Now, to be fair, like I think it was it 12-10 when all the Panthers first graders came off, or maybe 16-12 to the Tigers or whatever. Well, what I took most out of this, obviously the Macassini stuff, but like usually when the Tigers beat a better side, or I say better in quotation marks, but like a top tier side, it's like this weird kind of like panicked shit just happened. They fought for everything. The ball bounced here, bounced there, and they've just fought to the death to make the win. What I was so surprised at, what you alluded to earlier, there were times when Jerome Luai looked like the puppet master taking the piss out of the Penrith defence system. Like him angling in like that, knowing Cleary will have a tendency to come in hard the way he did, and then just going bang. Like that is a guy that grew up playing with that other guy. It's like that is like footy IQ, for days. That's what surprised me the most is like they looked calm, they looked collected. They didn't look like a team that was mentally playing a much better team. Whereas in the last few years, you can always tell when the Tigers are playing, like they're almost like a bit panicky, a bit skittish. They look like a team like, no, we got a game style. We're going to beat this side. That's what surprised me the most. I know it's a trial match. Disclaimer: it's a trial match. Oh fuck, we didn't know that when we were talking about it. That's out of the way. That's how impressed I was with the Tigers.
Yeah, for sure. I think the other disclaimer is, with those trials, I think it's fair to say some trials mean more to some teams than to others as well. We know that. I think this one meant more to the Tigers than it did to the Panthers, sure. But, they still went up against the Penrith Panthers. Still, a lot of experience and whatnot out there, and, Tigers with a lot of new combinations and things are still working out. I think they just look to be in control, and they look to understand their brand of footy, which I think part of that comes with, Benji, getting the job as a new coach, and I think that it's taken them a while to sort of find their actual identity within their football.
Yep.
But I really like what I'm seeing now from the West Tigers, and there's still other guys to come back into this side, like Kai Paul and whatnot, a few other guys.
They did with that Terrell May.
What's that?
They did with that May.
Yeah, yeah.
Like if you said
last
to me,
year he was the entire forward pack.
He was literally the forward pack.
Yeah.
Like that's like, funnily enough, before this game happened, I was speaking to some Tigers fans, and I said my biggest concern is if Terrell May doesn't have the insane year he had last year, you guys are stuffed. Like, you guys are stuffed. Everything was around him. Without him, you're running for like 200 or 300 metres less, essentially, if you include his offloads. But they looked fine. Like, they didn't look like obviously, they missed him. He's their best forward. But they didn't look like a player missing their best forward. Team missing their best forward. Lee, what are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I think the key word there is control. It's not necessarily something that I would expect from Adam Dewey there at halfback. I think you sort of commit almost to a certain style of running first when you've got him there, but they did it really, really well. They exceeded my expectations in that department for sure, and especially given, as you say, that May wasn't there, they did a great job to get the space that they needed in order to dictate that game against the likes of Nathan Cleary and as well, and Talangi, who they've gelled pretty well together. It was very impressive, and look, it is trials, all that stuff, but I'm excited from the signs we're seeing there.
Yeah, I just think that it's just the control they showed. And these are, the Panthers, the 4 grand finals, blah, blah, blah. Like, are they going to care as much? Maybe not, but we got to remember, this is still a Tigers team that won 3 spoons in a row and came 13.
Yeah.
Like, we're not talking about a team that's a top 8 side that, so I thought they were great. I thought Luai looked so much more comfortable as just an out-and-out 6. Like, geez. And I wonder if Luai always kind of deep down knew long-term he didn't want to be a 7 to a degree. Like, when you're that good as a 6, like, that's something that kind of get lost maybe last year, even the year before, even in the Penrith system because there's so many other stars. But, Luai's a game breaker. He's a top tier 6 that, because he plays the second fiddle so often, you just kind of, like for example, last year, and I know they've lost a bunch of people, guys, but do you really think they're getting beaten the way they got beaten at Suncorp if Luai's still on that side? I don't think so. I think they probably beat the Broncos if Luai's still on that side. But it doesn't get talked about that much because, we lose star after star after star. We win anyway. We're all good. But, I know they lost Fish End, Luai, but I don't think it was field position that was their issue, in that finals. It was just a few key moments that Luai usually stands up in. So, I really think that the Tigers played as well as I've seen them playing in quite a while. To open the game with a 92% completion rate compared to 85 from the Panthers. I will say, from a Panthers perspective, though, even when they're not playing good, they still keep teams to 12 points. I know that eventually it was 26 points, but whilst all their first graders was on the field, it even, talking about we forgot to talk about the World Club Challenge. Jesus Christ, we'll talk about it in a bit. even in the World Club Challenge when Broncos leaked 30 points, I was like, fuck. The Panthers, even when they're not playing well, they still lose like 16-12. It's just crazy how good their defense is.
Well, they conceded 5 tries in the game. The 3 of them came in the last 12 minutes. Up until that point, their defense was really exemplary. You saw that system still shine through. So it's a good sign in terms of their depth. But yeah, I mean, I'm not too worried from a Panthers perspective. I still think they're going to have a very dominant year.
Yeah, I think so too. I think when that first try that they scored, I was like, oh, they almost made it look easy. Like just bang, 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 over the top to Toto. He tries through.
The physicality of Toto on that try. I mean, we're not surprised by it anymore, but still, it was beautiful to watch.
Go and watch that try again. If you watch Nath Cleary, he throws the pass. Toto's got 40 metres to go and 4 defenders to beat. And Nath's like almost running over to the sidelines, just knowing he's going to do it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. But yeah, in regards to performances, we've already spoken about Macassini and how good he was, guys. But, you know, Taylor May, like, fuck. You know, Jesus. You know, I think some people, when I talk about him being an origin level player, they kind of go, oh, come on, mate, bro. He is special. He is a special, talented rugby league player.
Yeah, for the amount of football he's actually played over the last couple of years and whatnot, and where he's at, and just being parachuted in halfway through the season last year, I think he's going to go enormous this year. And you can already there was one pass in particular that Jerome Luai threw to him that was kind of a bit of a blind pass out in front of him. You only throw those passes to the guys you got full faith in.
Yeah, and so that edge of Luai, May, Macassini. I think if they can just get a little bit of go forward, they're going to be a problem for teams.
Is that where Kai Pearce-Paul will be
I was
playing
about
as
to
well?
say, because Kai Pearce-Paul didn't play the other day, and there was obviously a few back rowers around, I think Kai Pearce-Paul's more suited to being on the right, but fuck, if it's going to be that stacked on that edge, I wonder if you do.
The offloads to those guys would be insane.
But is it Fainu on that side, though? Samuel Fainu?
Yeah, that's who I assume it'll be. I just because we haven't seen Kai Pearce-Paul out there at all yet, I just wonder. I assume KPP will be on the right, but...
Well, I'm just thinking, like, if I'm looking at... Because I know what you're saying, like, just put another... But the reason why I like Samuel Fainu there is, A, he still has that in him. Like, offload, good play. But I almost want my back rower there just running really bloody good lines.
Yeah.
Because, whereas if Kai Pearce-Paul is constantly offloading, the flow is like... It's just different. It's different.
I would have KPP on the right. I'm just saying if we get out there round 1 and he is on the left, it's going to, you're going to sit back in your seat and go, shit.
Him working with Luai...
Yeah.
Like that offload with Luai's ability to just break tackles, step in that, it's like, it's a scary prospect.
I'll tell you the other one that I've come out of trials, obviously Macassini's been the star of the show for the West Tigers and rightly so, but mate, the other one that's really impressed me is this Charlie Murray.
Mate, I got him in bold and one notes too.
Yep.
I remember watching him play last year and he was good, but it didn't really blow me away. He's been really good. I think I'd be finding a spot for him on my bench.
Especially with a forward pack that isn't necessarily the strongest forward pack in the competition. So it's not like, you've just got this like Warriors problem where, you're going to have guns missing out. You might have some, but I'm with you, mate. I think Murray, like, even just the size and, like, when he runs on and you just, like, you see him take his first hit up, you're kind of like, okay, yeah, it just looks like a normal first grader. And then he almost just goes into like rampage mode or something like that. He is fucking outstanding.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, he's the best C Murray in the competition. I can't think of anyone else. Maybe Maddie might have something to say about that. But he's 24 years old.
That's sacrilege on this show. Listen, Rabbitohs aside, there'll be no Murray slander, okay? Cam Murray is one of the great all-timers. Thank you very much.
Even Queenslanders don't spray Cam Murray.
Because
Cam
he's a Queenslander at heart. Like, I think that, look, I want to see a birth certificate.
That's too far.
I want to see a birth certificate. Cam Murray, I want to see a birth certificate. I think you're actually born in Queensland.
If you think that was a spray on Cameron Murray, that's just insulting to Charlie Murray. All I said is that Charlie's better.
That's disrespectful to Bradman Best.
let's not go in. That's getting too deep. But no, yeah, he's 24, turning 25 this year. So it's around the age where you want to start cementing that spot in the side. But especially, as I said earlier, with the extended benches, he could absolutely find a spot and become quite a bit of an impact forward for them.
Yeah, so like with the Tigers, great stuff. Like, this is how, I guess, strong they're looking, is a guy like Maverick Guy, who I actually thought probably would, like, come straight across and be in their 17 almost. Like, he's relatively highly touted. He's been at Panthers for a while. You assume that he hasn't got much of game time because he's at the Panthers. But right now, it's probably looking like he's still going to have to work his way into that squad.
Most definitely, I'd say.
And which is like... It feels like crazy to even say about the Tigers with where they've been last few years, but it looks like they're hopefully turning things around.
Yeah, well, I mean, going into this preseason, I would have assumed that Maverick Guy would have been in front of Charlie Murray at this point, and I don't think it's even close, really.
I mean, a guy like Seyfarth might not even be in the 17. Yeah, so like great stuff. I thought Bolle had some outstanding moments as well. I thought he was really good because like the first 10 rounds last year, Bolle was outstanding.
Yeah.
He just probably just fatigued a little bit. It's a tough game, especially like I know he's quite big and bulky, but I don't think he would have come through the grades playing 10, surely. Like he probably would have been a back rower / maybe 13.
Yeah.
And so he's probably getting a bit used to the contact in that.
I think Javon Andrews as well, 5'8", that came off the bench. He got MOM in the 19s last year. I know they've got this Latu situation. Like he's going to be an interesting watch. Big body 5'8". I think he's really suited to the modern game.
Isn't that Latu Fainu situation's gone from, you know, pretty much this is the next guy up to like it's getting a bit touch and go.
It's murky.
Yeah.
It's gone a long time.
Yeah, it could go in a number of different directions, and I'm starting to wonder if realistically for Latu's career, if the Tigers is the best place for him to be.
Even just a fresh start. You know, it has nothing to do with, you know, he hasn't played poorly when he's coming to first grade at all. More just like the timing of it all. Like, you know, when an opportunity arises, he gets injured. That's not his fault. It just happens. And then like he gets a bit of another crack and then gets injured in preseason or whatever. And so it's like, it's not really due to anyone doing anything wrong. It's just sometimes timing doesn't work out.
And I mean, like it's murky now and Galvin's already gone.
Yeah.
It should have been murkier.
I mean, it should be clear as day that he's next up.
Yeah.
It should be literally like, you know, but he just, as I said, the timing of it, like if he wasn't injured right now, maybe we would be saying that because he would have the trial matches to kill it.
Yep.
But it's just getting a bit, it's getting tough. It's getting tough.
And when new sides come into the competition, there's options there for him. So, yeah. But you then get into the whole discussion of his brothers being at the club and all that. So
and his brother just extended as well. Look, I think from a Tigers perspective, you keep him as long as possible. He's a 100%. Bloody good player, and there's a world where in, you know, three consecutive games we know what he can do, and all of a sudden he's the best young talent in the comp, and he's still 21 years old or something like that. But it's more just from a like these are how if you stay too long behind players, like you just kind of get left in the noise. The noise around your name dies down. Then if you don't play really, really well in the New South Wales Cup, all of a sudden it's like, you know, you're just behind the so it's tough. It's tough. But yeah, outside of that, great trial. I think with Adam Dewey, like my only worry is just staying injury free. Like because he's had unfortunately a bit of injuries the last 5 years or so. It's just like I just need to get him through the whole season. If he can get through the whole season, I'll be confident that he'll do a good enough job to give him a platform what they need.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, on to the Penrith Panthers. Look like, yeah, they looked typical Penrith Panthers. They're going to play consistent, good, solid footy. I was a little bit surprised at the young guns from the Tigers coming on and just blow them off the park. But, you know, I'm tending to think, it's a mixture of two things. I just think that, like, the Panthers, although they put out a strong front to the public, I have a suspicion that they're sitting in their office a lot of off seasons going, we have just been absolutely decimated by other clubs taking out juniors. Like I think it's a mixture of that, and also it meant more to the West Tigers. But yeah, if anything, like when it comes to juniors playing, not that they did poorly by any stretch, but like if I was to rank, okay, which juniors impressed me the most, you know, 2 years ago, it would have been Penrith Panthers by an absolute fucking country mile. This year, none of them played poorly, but they wouldn't be in my top three juniors that I'm excited about right now.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, last week they went up against that, you know, full-strength Cowboys side and got blown off the park. And then in this game, once they come on, they sort of fell off again. So, yeah, I think it's fair. Yeah,
and look, it might be, again, just a timing thing. I'm not sitting here saying, like, Penrith juniors aren't good at all. I'm just saying it's a mixture of, I reckon after that first or second premiership, when everyone saw, like, when you think of the players that have filtered out through the NRL, like Kickout, you've got Critter, Burton. Like, we're talking about guys that, like, all could demand $1 million.
Isaiah Katoa.
Yeah. Like all the guys you named there were from one club.
Yeah,
Catewell. Look at the amount of guys that are around and at different clubs, and even like in this game, who we just talked about, Taylor May. How good's he looking?
Yeah. So you're looking at guys that have left the Panthers that are literally top tier across the board, and there's like 7 or 8 of them.
Yeah.
To be honest, though, and I know like Ivan Cleary has come out and said that he'd be in favour of getting some sort of compensation for his juniors going. I think every other club out there would say, well, we'll trade positions with you. We'll have the massive junior base and let those guys go. You know, it's one of the big inequalities in the game is that different sides have different size junior bases. So I wouldn't be complaining.
Yeah. I think it's. I can
You're a Roosters
understand.
fan by any chance?
Yeah, a little bit. Can you tell?
Wow, Roosters never stole anyone.
Spencer Lenyu's in Eastern Suburbs junior.
I understand. I don't think that there should be compensation because you've got different sizes of juniors and you'd have to like even the playing field to a degree. Anyway, however, I can understand the Panthers sitting there going, mate, we took that risk 10 years ago. We're the ones that spent all that money to make this incredible system, and then like we just get absolutely gutted because the problem is like. I guarantee you, it's not just like the NRL squads that's got absolutely rated by every club. I guarantee you, scouts after probably year 2 were down at under 16, under 15, under 14 games, just going, thank you. Like, and so like if you're the Panthers, you're like, we literally lost like 40 players last year. You know, like
Yeah. But I mean, like, I mean, the way that I look at it is, yes, Penrith are doing a lot more work than a lot of other sides, but you still get first dibs on them. You've still got them in-house with you. You get to pick and choose the ones that you want to make your absolute priority.
Yep.
I mean, if other clubs are able to come in and take them, that's probably a problem there.
Oh, look, I'm not saying that clubs can't do that. I'm empathizing with the Panthers right now.
Yeah.
I understand why they'd be like, fuck. Like for example, we all sitting here going, mate, Isaiah Katoa is like Dally M, like fucking the next big thing. And they're going, he was supposed to be 6th with Nathan Cleary. You know?
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm just empathizing with the Panthers. Not that they fucking need much empathy, Jesus Christ. But I understand why Panthers fans can get little bit like, fuck, like all of our boys are gone. In regards to some other performances, I like that Blaze made 20 tackles, only missed 2. I thought he was a little bit quiet, relatively quiet. He had obviously 1 try assist, but relatively solid performance. Who stood out for you in regards to the Panthers?
I know he missed that tackle that we spoke about, but Kalani going, I think he's going to be a nice little addition to this squad. I wouldn't be surprised if he does land on a 19, jersey 19, 20, whatever it might be, coming off the bench there for them. What are we thinking? Isaiah Papali'i, once Sorensen and Liam Martin are available, do you think they'll both be the back rowers? Or
Papali'i's a middle. I liked Papali'i through the middle.
As a middle?
I thought he played the best footy at the club as a middle.
Yep. No, I tend to agree. I love Scotty Sorensen too. I think he's mad.
Yeah, fucking oath. Hot too. Outside of that, I'm trying to think.
I'd be looking at the battle for that wing spot. I mean, I'm assuming Casey McLean comes back into the side in one of the centre positions, but both Paul Alamotti and Jenkins were pretty good. I think Alamotti particularly got a try, 152 metres. His tackles were pretty good as well, 9 made, only 2 missed. I mean, it was a debate that was running through all of last year. Would you go Milky Jenkins or Alamotti, or maybe even Tongo misses out? What do you think?
Tongo seems so loved by Ivan. I think he's his man.
I'd agree, but 12 tackles made, 6 missed tackles. It wasn't the best showing from him. But it's just one.
If you've been on this podcast, and then he gets the finals footy and he's the best on the fucking field.
Best. And I think that's the same with Alamotti. I think Ivan showed his hand last year. When it came down to games that mattered, it was Alamotti straight in, even though it didn't make sense.
We were you 2 years ago with Tungle. And I think a lot of Penrith fans were also like, we were like, you know, Tungle's form was just like, not great. And we would sit here on the podcast every week and be like, surely one of these other young guns gets an opportunity and Tungle gets a bit of a kick up the backside. Never happens. And to Ivan's credit, every time finals footy rolls around, his defence gets sorted out and he goes out and plays outstanding. So, yeah, I think he's just one of those players where Ivan trusts him, I think.
Yeah.
I think the real battle is Jenkins-Alamotti. I think it's going to be Alamotti because, like, to your point, I think he showed his hand in the final series. Also, like, you can't keep doing this dance of, you know, like, for example, let's say Alamotti form drops again and then they go, okay, we're going to go Jenkins. Like, okay, yes, did Alamotti come back and play really well, but you can't keep doing this dance of like, all right, you get dropped, then you come back and you play really well, and then you get dropped again, and then you come back and play really well. At some point, Ivan Cleary would be like, Jenkins is more consistent. He might not have the ceiling that you guys have. So I think it'll be Alamotti. I think that he'll get that spot, and I think that he's probably learned his lesson. And you got to remember with Alamotti, he's 23 or something. He's young as shit.
And I think maybe Ivan's learned his lesson, but I reckon Alamotti's also learned his lesson.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I think realistically, mate, Jenkins couldn't have done any more to stay in that team now.
Literally couldn't have done any more.
Alamotti's 22, and he turned 22 a couple of weeks ago. So he's 22 all year.
Damn.
Like, this is we spoke earlier about timing. Alamotti couldn't be the more perfect example of timing. And what I mean by that is that, like, he's at the Dogs. and Roo, you can attest to this. You're the one that tipped on us. He was like essentially the best young gun fucking ever.
He was the guy. Yeah.
The guy. At the Bulldogs, system terrible, club going terrible. But even when Serraldo came, they let him go. But at that time, to my understanding, no clubs were even interested in Alamotti. He got a lifeline at Penrith, and now he's turned into this player. And it just shows you there are so many young guns that their timing is just off. Like they get injured or they're at a club with a bad system, and they go like, no one's interested. Do I really want to be working a full-time job plus also playing footy, or do I want to start focusing on like career art footy, or I've got children to support, and they get lost to the game. Like to think that Alamotti was one decision away from going over Super League is fucking mental.
Yeah, when 12 months before that, if he would have gone to the open market when he was coming through Canberra, you would have had 17 clubs lining up.
Literally.
I want to say with Alamotti as well, I won't get too specific in case he doesn't want this information out there, but so my grandma was his Sunday school teacher. I know for a fact he had it tough growing up in terms of like, you know, raising brothers and sisters and stuff. Well. So for him to come through and at such a young age be doing what he's doing, it is really, really incredible. So as far as players that I want to do well, he's right up there.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit, obviously the stories are different or whatever, but Moses Sully, a similar-ish, you know, not as highly touted as Alamotti, but still a fucking gun and had some issues. It's always good to see these young men get second chances and take them. And it's a good point you make, League. Like, you just never know what's going on in someone's personal life. Like, if 9 out of 10 young men probably dealing with what Alamotti had to deal with growing up, I'll tell you what, they're not playing footy. They're probably fucking doing shit that's not good for them. So good on Alamotti for doing that. Leota, solid. I will say he did get bumped by Lau Lily. I couldn't believe that shit. I was like, holy shit, how strong is Lau Lily to be jumped? Like, no one bumps Leota.
Yeah, well...
It was a speed thing, but still, fuck.
I think he's going to be a really good signing for Perth. I like the look of this Lau Lily, and I know that over there they rate him highly.
Well, he really is like, just unfortunately stuck behind a generational talent in Macassini.
Well, yeah, from what I was told a few weeks ago, it was him that was actually in front of all of them 3 weeks ago.
Well, 3 weeks ago he was.
Yeah, I think he was in front of Skelton, and I think he was in front of Macassini at that point, but because Macassini's just lit it up the last few weeks, it's sort of flipped everything on its head. So he's definitely one to watch in Perth, though.
Yeah. Outside of that, look, good solid from the Panthers. Nothing to worry about. I thought Patea, I thought he came on and had some good moments. I thought defensively he was quite strong as well. But yeah, nothing to worry about from a Penrith perspective, in my opinion. Nothing to worry about. You know, like, the thing is like, when you've won 4 comps out of the last 6 or whatever and 5 grand finals, doesn't matter how much you try to like get the boys up for a trial, it's tough.
Yeah,
they've played bigger games.
It's a trial.
And they've played rep games as well.
You know,
that,
so yeah. Sharks defeat the Raiders 48-6, and this is brought to you by Grumpy Coffee. The coffee that turns that frown upside down. If you're waking up feeling like you got a frown, well, use Grumpy Coffee. It'll turn it upside down. Eco-friendly packaging that isn't just for show. Grumpy Coffee, our coffee is eco-friendly packaged from an Australian supplier, Eco Barista. So get your Grumpy Coffee at grumpycoffee.com.au. You will not be disappointed. We've got over 500 5-star reviews, and you know how pedantic people are about coffee. Turn that frown upside down. Okay. Sharkies defeat the Raiders 48-6. And I got to say that from this match is like, okay, you know, Raiders were missing a lot of their key players for sure. There's no denying that. However, it's just the clinical nature in which the Sharks have done it. And I know I'm a Sharks apologist. I don't know there's much to apologise for. I think they've been quite successful the last few weeks. But like, you know, people will hand wave this with like, it was the Raiders. They didn't have any of their first graders. And it's just like, hang on. So like, we can rap like the Cowboys and we can rap the Doggies and the Eels and all that kind of stuff when they are clinical in a trial. But when Sharks do it, we just go, we hand wave it away. Like, this is exactly what you want. And also, like, the Sharks resis came on in that second half as well. It wasn't all first graders. Granted, maybe the platform had been laid. But I just thought it was clinical. I thought the Sharks did exactly what you'd hope them to do. They looked like a tier above the Raiders, as they should have looked. And I thought the spine looked smooth as anything. And I think we're starting to see the dividends of sticking with a spine of Brayley, Kennedy, Hines, and Trindle, where they know each other inside out now. And so, good clinical win from the Sharkies. To be honest, not really that much to take away from the Raiders. Like, I know it's going to be disappointing for Raiders fans, but like, you're up against a top tier side because that's what the Sharkies are right now. Like, if you want to get like super nitpicky and say, are they, Broncos, Melbourne, Penrith? I mean, Melbourne, you could argue this year, we'll see what happens. But like a top 4 side essentially. So clinical. I liked it. I was happy with it with Sharkies.
Yeah, I don't take anything away from this game, if I'm completely honest. The Sharkies, they did what they were meant to do. I think the Sharkies are a top 4 side. They have been the last few years. When I'm against understrength side, they did what they needed to do. The Raiders,
The only thing I would say is, like, with that, and I think we're on the same page, is like, there's not much to take away. However, the Sharkies did what they were supposed to do. But, like, how many teams have we seen not do what they're supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. And you know, like the Cowboys, they did a similar thing last week. I felt the same. Sweet.
Yep.
You should do. You did it. Would have been a train wreck if you didn't do it. Then it's a talking point. But yeah, I for me personally, I don't come out of this game. It doesn't move the needle at all for the Sharkies. For me, I know they're a good footy side, and it doesn't move the needle for the Raiders all that much for me either. I know that's a bit of a boring analysis, but I think that's just the reality of trial sometimes.
Yeah, and reality of, like, okay, they did what they were expected to do.
Yeah, it's sweet. Yep.
I just think that, like, I do think that there are a lot of people that don't see Sharkies as a top side for some reason. Even though they continue to make top 4 on that, they still get, like, you know, I think there's some people out there that have Bulldogs as a more cemented top tier side than the Sharkies. Yep. Even though they've gone deeper in finals. But do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I sometimes don't feel like the Sharkies get enough credit. Like, they played like a top tier side. There's a lot of other sides that people would have them around them on the table that didn't play like a top tier side against a weaker side. I'm not saying that you're saying that, but again, I'd leave your thoughts, mate.
Yeah, this is the prime example of one side taking a trial quite seriously and the other side very much just being there because they're obliged to be there. I think Ricky Stewart's been very vocal about the fact that he doesn't put much value into these trials. But yeah, I mean, not literally just to echo your thoughts, but the Sharks, you know, they played the way that we thought that they would play, that we know that they can play, and coming into round one, I don't think it shifts that much in terms of expectation. I very much do consider them to be one of the top sides. I think we've got sort of a top 5 or 6 clubs in the NRL, and they're certainly one of them. So really just wait until the season starts.
I did like the confirmation of how smooth Trindle and Hines looked, though. Like, I think that, you know, you really saw the difference of a halves combination that have been together for a few years now. Like, they're going into trials looking like they don't need the trial, which is a good thing to have.
I agree with that completely. And yeah, it was good to see. But then again, I still want to see it, you know, with a first grade side putting pressure on them defensively. They were probably offered a bit more time and space than they would be in the NRL game. For sure.
I think the biggest takeaway from the Sharks was Pudu.
Yep.
I thought he was outstanding. And, you know, last week, my critique of the Sharks was, look, we know their first grade side's good, but I'm a little bit worried about some key positions, you know, the depth in it. But I thought Pudu was outstanding.
Yeah, he's been a good player for a long time. He would be on my bench there for me. I think that's the reality of it. Now that Atkinson's gone, Kate Dykes is gone, you've got Ison that you could play there, obviously. But I think Pudu would be the perfect guy for it. You know, whether he and you know, especially whilst Cam McInnes is returning from injury as well, I think he's the perfect guy to jump on there. And I think even when Cam McInnes is back,
I think there's a question.
Yeah, I think I'm happy to have Pudu as a bit of a point of difference player to bring on just through the middle and just give them something a little bit different.
Well, if I hadn't have seen them play without Cam McInnes last year, and granted, maybe they would have been better with McInnes in the side last year, but they looked pretty, because you've got Calhoun there.
Yeah, I would have assumed when Cam McInnes got ruled out, I put the red Sharpie through the Sharkies. I went, they can't win a comp. They obviously didn't, but they were up to that game in Melbourne, up to their eyeballs, because of Calhoun, because of Billy Burns, these sort of guys. So I just think Pudu can be a guy that can genuinely add a point of difference to their side, and he's probably a little bit easier to utilise than what Dan Atkinson was as well.
Yeah, true, because like you're just not going to put Dan Atkinson at 13. Like, I mean, you can, but like, yeah. And so that's probably the biggest takeaway out of the whole match. Really, is the Pudu depth that they have. It was something that was like last week. I didn't see it. I thought they didn't play that well. Whereas this week, I'm going okay. Who stood out for you, mate, for the Sharkies?
Honestly, I mean, yeah, Pudu was a very, very big one. I liked Kale Iro in the centres, 151 running meters. I mean, we know that he's an extremely solid centre, but I'm amazed at the consistency that he has still so early in his career. I mean, he came along, he played one game in 2022, but he had to wait till 2024 for his second appearance. So it really hasn't been that long since then. To see him doing what he's doing week in, week out in a very stable Sharks side, I think it's very impressive.
Well, it's just a more example of like, he served his apprentice in New South Wales Cup. He didn't get rushed in from under 19s into first grade. Like, I do feel like with the dilution of New South Wales and Queensland Cup, where it's not as strong as maybe it used to be, that there's not enough players really serving their apprentice. And granted, there are some players that just come in and they're just too good for Queensland Cup or too good for New South Wales Cup. But sometimes it's just good to play against men week in, week out. Understand what it takes to be the best version of yourself in reserve grade. And I think Iro is a real good example of that.
And he was too good for it. He got, I think in 2022 or 23, he got New South Wales Cup Player of the Year.
Yep.
He still had the weight X amount of years. There's still a lot of value in that. And I think he was a guy, he was a guy that was stuck at 18th man for, there was a season there, 23 or 24. I reckon he was 18th man on 20 occasions. Ridiculous. But it's also just reps that he got with first grade time and time again. And it's all, he's built himself so well. So I think he's one of the more consistent centers in the game.
Well, when he was playing last year, you could argue he's the most consistent.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
he was that good every single week for him. 8 out of 10 kind of stuff.
The apprenticeship as well has seen him develop a lot of leadership. He'll be coming into the end of this year to the World Cup as captain of the Cook Islands.
Yep.
So that's just another quality. They've got enough leaders in their side, Cronulla, but to have someone like that in the back line is definitely a strength.
I will say it was good to see Brayley running the ball early, so he's going to pick up where he left off last year. Geez, that 9 jersey is going to be interesting because, Robson, I think we saw on the weekend, his job was to tackle and pass. Sometimes it's hard to I still have Robson as ahead at this stage. Granted, that can change if Brayley, kills it. But it's almost like Robson will be sitting there going far out. I'm seeing so many options to take here, but I just can't. My job is just get the ball to. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough how they kind of pass that.
It's the worst thing for Robson to have that long-term injury to start the season and just be sitting there watching Brayley.
It's 10 weeks, isn't it?
Yes.
Is it 10 weeks?
6 to 8, I think they
6
said.
to 8.
They're thinking more on the 8 side of things.
Then Brayley's front runner, absolutely then. I don't think, even though Robson's been good in Origin, so he'll get maybe 3 games?
Yeah, he's relying on that incumbency and I think also the 1-2 punch with Connor Watson being able to translate into Origin. But that's different now as well with Watson sort of being a lock and the 6-man and all that.
I think maybe if Brayley can play like he did at the back end of last year, I think he's probably going to get his debut.
I think he's the better hooker. And, I'm biased towards the Roosters, obviously. So.
Okay.
Just, sorry, Iro, you mentioned they're playing for the Cook Islands end of the year. Do you know where he's born, Iro?
New Zealand?
He's born in England, grew up in New Zealand, and represents the Cook Islands.
Wow. Far out.
So he can't play Origin because he didn't get here until he was 19 or so, but he, if I'm reading this correctly, can play for New Zealand, Cook Islands,
I think he has played for New Zealand.
No.
He hasn't yet?
Only Cook Islands. Yeah. But I feel like I haven't even, unless I'm missing something.
He was in the mix.
He's in the mix, was he?
Yeah, he was in the mix. But then he did his pec or something. There was something I like.
Yeah, okay.
I think he wants to play for New Zealand eventually, yeah.
New Zealand had Iro and KP this year. That's a footy side.
Well, that means either Tomoko or Casey McLean miss out.
Who
and Kinney.
are the wingers, but you could even just play Iro on the wing if you
Well,
want.
Mulatalo.
He'll be back by then, yeah.
The other wing would be... I can't believe I'm forgetting this now. It's fucking
Is Osako still the other
Osako?
winger?
Isako's their other one. Warbrick's in the mix.
I reckon.
Iro, fucking oath,
Yeah. Yeah, wow. I didn't know that. He was born in England. Outside of that, in regards to some other... I thought... where is he? Talakai's an interesting one. Obviously there's talk around the contract or whatever. Seems to be playing more on the edge at times rather than through the middle. I'm actually quite surprised with that with Fitzy. I felt like Fitzgibbon had almost been like, okay, this is what Talakai's role is. It is through the middle, impact player. But he's played, I think, 2 trials now where he's played a fair bit of footy on the edge there.
Yeah, which is weird because I believe you'll have Teague Wilton that'll be back for round 1, which I read Talakai is behind Billy Burns now. We got to finals last year and Billy Burns was starting over Britton Nicola. So he's essentially 4th choice edge, but playing there in trials.
I guess from Fitzy's perspective, maybe he's going, well, if I get a couple injuries, I don't have that much depth in the edge back row.
Maybe it is just a case of he just trusts what he can do through the middle, so he's just testing him out there. I don't know. It's so hard with these trials, I know it's not, you can't do it, but fuck, I would love to just have explanations from coaches of what they're thinking.
For sure. Because when we get to Manly and we go talk about the fullback, I'm going to lose my fucking mind.
Just before we get off it too quickly, Iro actually
didn't want him to test out their 8th choice fullback on the
Yeah, let's put the centre or winger at fullback and not give Lehigh Hopewadi or Kohler some runs there when we have a fullback that has injury problems. What are we doing?
Save it for
We'll
later.
get to it.
What are we doing?
Shoot.
All right, I'm going to be the break here. So Ito actually turned down an opportunity to play for the Kiwis last year to play for the Cook Islands. So Cook Islands might be his number one.
Mad. Respect
That's
that.
my goal.
Wow.
And like that,
yes.
that might change. But as
Love
it stands, yeah.
You can't be that hot and that loyal. It doesn't work.
Because is this right? Is it his dad or is it his uncle? He played like 40 games for the Kiwis.
Yes, yeah. And then when he was playing in England, that's when he was born, I believe. Yeah.
Wow. Turned down Kiwis for Cook Islands. That's fucking amazing. I can't believe I haven't heard about that more. It's like I'd argue right now, profile-wise, is nowhere near as big as he should be when it comes to how good he is. But if he played for the Kiwis, respectfully to Cook Islands, like it ups his profile massively.
His exact quote is, I used to write speeches in school saying I want to make the NRL one day. But my first dream as a kid was to always represent Cook Islands. That's why Cook Islands will always be my number one pick.
Respect the shit out of that.
The more players do that, the better position our game is in.
I love hearing that.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. And we haven't spoken about it, but hearing Jerome Hughes go, whether he's eligible or not, he's on the cusp or whatever, go, I can't play for Queensland. I'm a fucking Kiwi. And like Melbourne and that's my team. And Moldy, like, bro, like as a Queenslander, that actually makes me like him even more. Because he's respecting the jersey. He's going like, it's just, no, it's not what I feel, not what I resent. I was like, fuck, that's so good.
I wonder what that'll look like without we're getting heaps far away from the Sharks versus Raiders, but I wonder what that'll look like in 25 years when it is like the norm that players can represent. But like at the moment,
it still feels
I fully
weird
respect Jerome. And to be honest with you, I don't know if this is a hot take. If I'm Queensland, I wouldn't pick Jerome Hughes. You put years into Dearden. Why the fuck would you divert for a 31-year-old now?
And like also Dearden is, we talk about the origin. Not to say Hughes couldn't be that, but what we do know is Dearden is that.
Dearden is that. He's shown time and time again he's an origin player.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get too sidetracked here. But yeah, back to I thought number 22, Puru, that's his older brother or younger brother, number 22?
I'm not sure which one's older or younger, to be completely honest with you.
But anyway, I thought he had some good moments as well. I thought Hassett, when he came on, Harrison Hassett.
Good player, man. He's gone from club to club and he's never really been able to grab onto a spot anywhere, but he's got talent everywhere he goes.
He just looked good.
Yes,
looks strong, powerful, just a good footy player.
He always looks good.
It's like, it's funny, like, why land at the Sharks when it's like, because he was a centre, wasn't he? Or was he edge back row? Centre? I think he came on centre.
Yeah, back row I've seen him play previously.
Okay, so maybe back row. Okay. Well, then maybe that hints as to like the Talakai at back row. Fitzy feels like his edge back row depth isn't great.
Could be, or it could equally mean absolutely
nothing.
Yeah.
Because if he's an outside back, it's like, why go to the Sharks?
Yes.
It's like the last place you want to land.
Well, see, I think the Talakai thing has more to do with probably the middles. We spoke about Colquhoun and the likes of Pudu coming through. It could just be that there's enough there. Talakai clearly isn't really part of the plans anymore with him being on the outer. So it could just be that that's where he's ended up.
See, he offers something so unique for the Sharks. I'm just not sure I understand if he's getting way more money at Perth, but like to not have him as your specialist impact front rower off the bench is like, that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Not to suggest that's going to be the case, but I'm trying to make sense of this minutes on the edge.
He's played a lot of lock in the lower grades, Peru. So
Peru did.
That's like where he's mostly played.
Yeah, that's his best spot.
Starting lock for the All-Stars for the Indigenous
But didn't he used to be, he was a half, wasn't he?
No, that's his brother.
That's his brother was a half. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Outside of that, I'm just trying to look at some other players that went all right. I saw, Michael Gabriel looked all right when he came on.
Yeah, he's he came over from Canterbury a couple of years ago, Mikey Gabriel. He's been touted for a very long time. I said last week I was pretty disappointed with his trial last week, but a good little bounce back there. He scored 2. I think he still bombed another one. He dropped one over the trial.
I don't know how he missed that. He was like slapped at it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I haven't seen that in ages where they've just completely misjudged where the ball's at.
He's he looks to me a little bit nervous at the moment, still coming into first grade and everything, because I personally think he's a lot more talented than what he's shown in the last 2 weeks, Mikey Gabriel. So if I'm a Sharkies fan, I'd just be patient with him because he's a good player.
He's 20, 21? 20?
He's young,
young
he's
as
very
shit.
young. Yes.
Young as shit.
Yeah.
But see, this is yet another sort of game where I feel that we're talking about the quality of the depth that's available for these sides. So, as I mentioned earlier, with teams coming in, it's a good sign that we won't be diluting that pool as much as we might have thought.
I thought Katara on the wing. I thought he looked back to his energetic best. I felt like back in the last year.
Did he pick up an injury? Did I hear that?
I thought he was injured a couple of weeks ago. I saw some post that he had a long-term injury, but that must have just been rubbish.
Yeah, I think that was rubbed out, but then there was a rumour that he got hurt the other day. I don't know if it's true.
I hope not, because I thought he was back to his, coming out of his own end, good ball running. Doesn't get enough credit. Like, I think in big games, under the high ball, sometimes he can be a bit concerning, but he doesn't get enough credit for how much good yardage he does coming out of his own end. He's a freaking good winger. Good finish too.
It's a good player, Carter.
Yeah, groin injury.
He what?
Groin injury.
Oh, fuck me, bro. Well, Stone Street, I mean, now they're really starting to scrape.
Well, yeah, they've got Hiroti that'll start on the wing now,
Okay.
I assume, who's very good. I like Hiroti, but...
They got the young fella Vilea.
Yeah, you got Valea as well. And then it is probably Mikey Gabriel, next guy up realistically. But Hiroti's a very good player.
There's no indication of like how serious it is though.
Yeah.
Like he could be sweet.
On to the Raiders. Now, maybe I'm looking too much into this, but Dane Laurie's starting at 1 over Chevy Stewart. It makes sense the more I guess I think about it in regards to tier of player. Like obviously Dane Laurie's done more, but this Chevy Stewart thing, I think he's probably going to have to go somewhere else to get a gig.
I think he's without a doubt going to have to go somewhere else to get a gig. I think the writing was on the wall before this, personally. I like Chevy. I think he's a very good player. I think he's got a lot to offer, but for whatever reason, it's not working down there.
Like you could pass it with the KO week situation. You could pass, look, this guy just came out of nowhere and he killed it. Okay, he's the next one. Okay, Chevy Stewart, you're the next man up. But then Dane Laurie comes to the club, plays 7, and then he plays 1. It's like, wow, like you've gone from essentially the fullback to second in choice, second in line. Understandably, KO Weeks came and killed it. Now he's probably 3rd in line. Like he's probably going to
could be 4th behind Tamale potentially as well.
Yeah. So that was what stood out the most to me. That he's basically the 3rd in line fullback when 2 years ago he was the next guy up.
Yeah.
Thoughts, mate?
Yep, I agree. I think the optics are pretty average at the moment for Chevy, unfortunately. And yeah, I think that maybe one of these new clubs, it could be a good landing spot for him.
Has he been going well in New South Wales Cup?
He's done okay. I think under the high ball, there's some concerns there. I think still, yeah. And look, I haven't watched him week in, week out, obviously. But I thought Chevy would be further ahead than where he is right now. As you guys know, I was very high on him. And it just quite hasn't... He's probably the only guy that he hasn't come on leaps and bounds since arriving at the Raiders of all the young guys there. And personally, and it'll sound stupid now, but in hindsight at the time when Ethan Strange went there and Chevy went there, I think Chevy looked to be the more promising one at that point.
Yeah.
It just hasn't played out that way.
Still super young. Still so young.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Like he could go somewhere else and be successful. Absolutely. For sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think it'll be at the Raiders. And if I'm picking my cup team for round 1, I can't leave Dane Laurie out of a fullback spot.
Could you imagine? Well, does Dane Laurie play in the halves at 6 or something maybe?
Yeah, he could. But if I'm picking guys in their best position, Dane Laurie is a better fullback than Chevy Stewart, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I wonder if a club like the Dragons might have a look. You know, the Sloan project doesn't really seem to have worked out the way they wanted. A couple of years under Gutherson, and then he's sort of next up there.
He'd be almost like a cheapie that could be something good.
Yeah, a bit of a low risk, but potentially high reward kind of guy.
Yeah, don't mind that.
And I think it's a Cronulla junior, so that
he's a
kind of
Sharkies junior, yeah, so that'll work. I even wonder if he'll return to the Sharks. Or...
Can't hurt. Like, is it Leeson?
Ison.
I always get it wrong. You know, quite injury. I won't say injury prone because he's so young, but like he's had a few.
Yeah, and like Chevy has still got the ability to be able to like make a real fist of it.
Well, he was the fullback for the New South Wales Cup side of the minor premiership, so you got to be frigging pretty all right to be there. Yeah,
and I think he killed it in the under-19s in his second year when he returned. The first year, I think he got a little bit overwhelmed.
Yeah,
but, sometimes as much as Canberra's been fantastic for so many guys, might not just be the right fit. For Chevy.
In regards to the Raiders, boys, thoughts? Anyone standing out? Any concerns? What are you thinking?
I don't take a heap away from this one, mate. I don't. Honestly, probably my biggest concern coming out of this game was Matty Nicholson. He subluxed his shoulder.
Oh no!
I don't know if you saw how it happened. But it was like a player brushed past him. I'm not a physio or a doctor or anything, but just how it happened just looked like there wasn't really much.
Probably a pre-existing problem.
I think it's a pre-existing thing. Go to NRL Physio and his podcast, he'll talk about it, but just optically I worried about that. I thought it was interesting as well. He started on the left edge in this trial. Hudson Young didn't play, obviously. Zach Hosking started in the middle.
I was about to say, that's going to be my next takeaway. I mean, it's Hosking at 10.
I'm okay with Hosking at 10, but why Matty Nicholson didn't play on the right edge, I don't know in this trial. And then even when Matty Nicholson got injured, they kept Hosking in the middle and brought on another young guy to...
And Sasungi's at centre.
Yeah, that's what and like surely you're not moving Hudson Young to the right hand side. I would assume.
Oh,
It seems
wow.
like you're already moving Strange to the right hand side, which I have my questions about already. But yeah, and once again, maybe Ricky is just the I don't give a fuck cup. Do it. I don't care. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Just optically, I just found that all a bit weird
Yeah.
to work out what's going to happen there.
In regards to Nicholson, so I subluxed my shoulder in my debut. I'd already had problems with it. I'd subluxed it, I think, in reserve grade. So you can play through it.
Yep.
Like, because I'm tough as fuck, I stayed on the field. But it's whatever. So you can play through it as long as you get it back in. And
Yep.
even sometimes when you get it back in after getting off the field or whatever, but if you get it straight back in and keep playing.
And hopefully it's a scenario of it was a trial. Just get him off.
Yeah,
the
of
field.
course
He'll
get
be
him off the
okay.
field. Yeah, of course get him off the field.
Yeah, like optically, I think if you watch the tape and how it happened, you'll be like, oh shit.
There wasn't much in that.
Wasn't much
It's going to
in
go again if it goes again.
Correct.
Well, I will say, like, if it went quite easily, because I don't even remember it, which is fucking mental, and obviously I watched the
that.
game.
Happened in the early parts of the game. It was about 15 minutes in.
Yeah, okay. You'd have to say he's going to take at least 4 to 6 weeks off to try and rehab it, because he's going to have to get a reconstruction most likely. Because when it gets ripped out, what happens is he can chip the ball in there and you can fucking all that kind of shit. So I'd assume they'll try and rehab it, and then if it doesn't work, he'll have to get shoulder reco mid-year. But back to Zach Hosking at 10 is interesting, but I wonder if you're going to move, if you're trialing, like, for example, why not move Hoskins, as you said, to that edge? And also, why is it on the wrong side? You're right.
Why
It
not
doesn't
have him
kind of
on
add
the
up.
right side in the first place, and then when he got injured, move Hosking out there?
And it's not like you don't have other young forwards that are guns that you can
Yes.
chuck in those positions to even it up in a trial or whatever.
Yeah, it's very and even mate, like I get where Ricky's coming from as far as trials. The season's too long, but like you've got a rookie halfback coming in, you got a 5'8" swapping sides.
See, I want to speak to you about that. Thoughts on Sanders and Kobe Black? Now, Kobe Black's injured, is
Kobe
he?
Black's not available, but Sanders not playing in a trial,
Thoughts?
I think is wild.
I couldn't believe it.
I can't believe that. And to add another element to it, I cannot believe they're moving Strange to the other side of the field and they're not testing out combinations or anything. I think that's
Him going
an
into round
enormous
one,
call.
round one as a 7 with no trial.
Yep.
Like the time, like it's just you can simulate as much as you want. You know what's crazy? It's like even trials aren't NRL level. So what I don't get is like surely just give him 20 minutes just to get his timing right, just to get the outside pressure and the contact, and I can't believe it.
Not to mention that the rest of the spine are all young guys.
And Sanders is a rookie.
Yeah,
He's
you've got
not-
KO Weeks, you've got Ethan Strange. Like Ethan Strange is, just gone on a kangaroo tour. I get it.
Yeah.
Still a young guy. KO
Yeah.
Weeks is still a young guy. Like he arrived at the Raiders 2 years ago. We weren't sure what his best position was. They killed it last year. Don't get me wrong.
Well,
but
KO Weeks, to your point, KO Weeks at this time last year was a fringe first grader.
Yep.
So it can show you how much things can change in such a short amount of time.
Ethan Sanders played 2 games of NRL last year. So that's a maximum of 2 games he's played with Tom Starling as his hooker. I can't believe they're not. And to be switching the halves, the sides they're playing.
And potentially
to not
back
test it,
row,
and
maybe,
back rowers,
you know.
I cannot believe that.
Yeah.
It does seem absolutely mind-blowing to me and completely logical. The only thing that I would say is that Ricky Stewart, I feel, hasn't set a foot wrong in quite a while. He's done well to develop these younger guys.
Yep.
He might have some plan, he obviously knows a lot about half play. There could be something there, but it does seem like these trials are perfectly made for a guy like Sanders.
And to your point, it's very fair. I'm not betting against Ricky. I just think it's bizarre.
With the
If
information
you're
I have
not
right
going
now,
to use
yeah.
them in that, when is Ricky ever going to use a trial?
Yeah. And also, like, Ethan Alalaya,
Yep.
that level of footy, he made 15 tackles, he missed 10, the poor fella. And so there's that knock-on effect of, like, maybe you push, like, we're always talking about, making sure a rookie's career is correctly, not to suggest Ricky can't handle a rookie's career, but it seemed like it was too early for him to be there. And maybe if Sanders was playing, then someone else is 6 with Sanders, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's like knock-on effects to it.
Yep.
Yeah, look, I'm with you though, Lee. You're like, this is not me saying Ricky got it wrong. It's just saying I can't understand it right now, and we'll know in a couple of weeks' time whether he got it right. If Sanders comes out and his timing is all good, then we'll sit there and go, once again, Ricky's nailed it. But if he comes out and he looks a bit rusty, it's like, well, fuck, you had an opportunity to get that rust out.
Yeah, and I don't know. Ricky obviously knows what he's doing, but if I've got a young halfback coming in who's going to be the guy, like you're going from a 32-year-old halfback to a 21-year-old halfback, like I'd even just be keen to see how he this is your team this
Yep.
weekend for the first 20 minutes. Guide us around.
Well, DCE played the trial. 50 he's playing trial matches.
That's what I just not
Yeah.
understand. We're talking about a guy. I know he's been highly touted. I know he's locked in as the next guy up. He's played fucking 3 NRL games or some shit. Like,
I mean, DCE ran around this weekend. Mitch Moses ran around. Nathan fucking Cleary ran around this weekend. I can't.
and you'd have to say, I'm sure Sanders was itching to play.
Yeah.
Itching to play. So I'd love to, the only thing I can think is like Ricky Stewart's like, there are a core of players in our team that are too important to this team to potentially get injured in a trial match. We've got a whole season to get the rust out, so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I guess.
If you were Ethan Sanders, would you have wanted to play in a trial?
Fucking oath, I would have
Yes,
wanted to try.
sweet.
Like, what? Bro, in NRL, we're talking milliseconds. We're talking like, it's such a high level. The contact is so brutal that you cannot simulate it. Like, I don't care what anyone says. You can go and do all the fucking simulations you want at training, but Tarpanair is not hitting his own teammate the same way he's hitting fucking whoever they're playing in round 1. I can promise you that.
Well, and he's under tremendous pressure next year as well. Coming to a minor premiership side, pretty much everyone thinks they're going to slide down the ladder, and it's because of that halfback position. So why on earth wouldn't you want to get that timing?
Just
perfect?
20 minutes. Honestly, just 20 minutes. Just to go, like, even if he plays like shit, who cares? He's locked in. He's the 7. And also, like, respectfully, like, if he plays poorly, like, that's not good. Like, he should be a level above that right now, especially... Anyway, it is what it is. Outside of that, boys, anyone else kind of... Interesting, Jaden Brayley started at 9. I'd assume that just kind of confirms... Oh, well, actually, sorry. So Brayley starts at 9, Paddy at 14. Any concerns there? Is that more because you think Paddy is an out-and-out 14 for the club? Or does it look like Brayley might have jagged ahead of him a little bit?
No. I think it's the 9 jersey will go to Starling or Brayley, and Paddy will be the 14.
Okay, so you think more it's like a balance of the team kind of thing.
I think Paddy's
starting.
playing 25 minutes regardless of who's playing hooker.
Here's a good question for you. Is Paddy more locked into the side or Starling and Brayley?
I reckon probably Paddy is, to be honest.
Yeah, just with the future.
I reckon
of
it'd be easier for Brayley to knock. Like, I don't think you're going to run with Starling and Brayley at any point. I think it's always going to be Paddy. I think he's always going to be the 14.
Could you ever go Brayley to start Starling off the wing? We know how
If you
good
were
he's
going to do it, that's the way you'd go about it.
Yep.
I don't think you'd do it in the inverse. But if I'm having impact off the bench, I would be having Paddy every day of the week. Yeah, I think he's pretty much locked into this side.
Yeah, the whole Brayley signing, I mean, it was announced at a time before Starling really exploded last year. I don't know they necessarily thought they'd have this problem coming into this season, but it's a decent headache to have. They're all quality hookers.
Mate, it's we all sort of look at it and go, geez, I don't know about it. But if Starling goes down in the first 5 weeks, it's genius. They can still win a comp.
It's crazy. It's I think we often think about signings from the player's perspective, like, oh, Brayley's going to be playing reserve grade. And it's like, let's think about it from the club's perspective. I want the best possible players playing reserve grade. If I've got an Origin player playing reserve grade, that's fucking good. That's a good thing from a club's perspective.
Yeah. And it's, there's 3 or 4 guys in this squad that I look at Dane Laurie, and if I'm honest, I'm going, what are you doing down there?
Yeah.
You should be playing first grade somewhere. You should be a first choice somewhere.
But from a club perspective, you're like, this is the best ever.
You go, Jaden Brayley should be as well. Dane Laurie should be. They're both here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I guess, the grace they probably gave Trey Mooney to be able to leave is really good from the Raiders. Like, they were in no position. They didn't have to do that.
And 2 years ago when Trey Mooney re-signed with the Raiders, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. So, look, in Ricky we trust. I think he's earned... I just think he's developed into such a great coach. Like, he's just in this real sweet spot now where I think he kind of knows who he is, what he wants. I guess the only thing I could see going wrong this year is we know how intense Ricky can get when he almost can smell a bit of a possible, I guess, a top-tier side to a degree. And sometimes that intensity can, overwhelm players, especially young fellas. Again, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's really the only part of Ricky's coaching I think you could probably critique is that intensity can be a bit too much. And I know, we all like to sit on our couches and go, man, be as intense as you want. That's fucking all that matters. It's like everyone's different. Every generation is different. There are different ways to win premierships. You look at Ivan Cleary, arguably, in regards to outwardly looking, the least intense coach. Wayne Bennett, not as intense. Trent Robinson, intense, but not in the same way as a bellyache or a a Michael Maguire. You know what I'm saying? So there are many different ways to do things. So, but I trust Ricky. I think that, look, I don't have him in my top 4 this year, but I still think they'll make the 8. I just think they're comfortable in who they are going forward.
Yeah, look, I think aside from Craig Bellamy, I think Ricky is the most synonymous coach with his club. He's so non-severable to the Raiders. It would feel completely wrong, in my opinion, for anyone else to really be coaching them at this point. So, yeah, there's definitely a great relationship between him and the club down there. So we'll see what happens this season.
Alrighty, on to the Roosters. Decimated, absolutely smashed by the Eels. And the Eels, Mitchell Moses played 5 minutes. That's crazy. They beat, so Eels reserve grade, no, Jersey Flegg side beats first grade Roosters side. Crazy stuff.
Are you sure this wasn't the World Club Challenge you were supposed to be talking about? Because that was a decimation.
Were you in the World Club Challenge?
No.
Is it the Premiership winners that are?
But we were the most recent NRL club to win a World Club Challenge.
How long ago was that?
Memory. Pretty much yesterday.
Because the last I checked, Premiership winners go over and play in the World Club Challenge.
Yeah, well, we play for Premiership.
Not overrated sides that get bounced out of fucking finals for the last 5 years. That's overrated sides that get bounced out of finals for 5 years don't get.
You play good when the game's already lost champion, so that's all right.
We won the grand final from behind. That's a good thing. We are not, what's his name, the bowler from England? We're definitely not that.
Archer.
The Archer of the NRL. I mean, Steve Smith does look like a bit of a Roosters man, if I'm being honest.
He's a Roosters.
Oh, is he? Well, fucking there you go. Even though we won the premiership and you guys didn't. Anyway, jokes aside, Eels defeat the Roosters 28-22. It is a trial. It's definitely a trial for sure. But my takeaway from this was 2 things. I felt like Riles might have a bit of a blueprint to muddle the Roosters style of rugby league up. And 2, I felt like it was really good evidence that Eels' system of play might be better. Again, it's just a trial. However, the Roosters on paper is a better side. And what I mean by that is when Roosters' first grade side was on, they were winning the game. But when both young guns were on the field, Eels were substantially better in my opinion. And I think that's a really good sign for the Eels that a system is so strong that almost whoever you put in it kind of hit. Roosters, solid, but did I watch them and go, wow, that team is going to fucking decimate sides. Granted, they're notorious slow starters. That there's no denying that. But underwhelm's a strong word, but I wasn't sitting there going oh my God, this is the team to watch out for. I'll get your thoughts, mate, on the Roosters performance.
Yeah, even when we were winning in that first half, I didn't think we were playing particularly well. And look, as you say, we're slow starters. We're still blowing those cobwebs out. It's the first time a lot of these players have played together, but we got tries off what were a number of pretty fluky moments. The Collins one to start with, then there's the lightning delay. So it was a weird first half. But yeah, in terms of systems, I think I was pretty impressed from the Eels' perspective. If we're just focusing on the Roosters, I was happy in terms of the balance of the side. I mean, obviously that's the big question. Walker really did take over. And even Tedesco had very minimal involvement. So I hope that that's the game plan and we're moving forward with that. But I want to see it obviously over the course of a number of different games and see, when push comes to shove, do the others end up overcalling him?
Guru?
My biggest takeaway was I was happy to see Sam Walker being the guy still. I know it was a short sample size as far as how long DCE was on the field and whatnot, but that was my biggest concern going into this season. So I actually, as much as I didn't walk away from that thinking the Roosters are world beaters and they're going to win the comp, I just wanted to see Sam Walker looking comfortable, and I thought he did the other day.
Yep. And I think, DCE deserves a lot of credit for, at least for now. It's going to be interesting when the pressure ramps up and they need to win games, but at least for now, that's a relatively humble guy that can go, all right, I'm not the man. I am truly second fiddle, and I'll just do what I need to do. That shows a lot of humility from DCE, which I respect. And he has done that in Origin a few times, but it is club level, and Sam Walker is far less proven than, say, a Munster. I think, look, the positive is at least the roles are very clear. It seems very, very clear. They're going to stick to it for now.
It looks like that.
Yeah.
But as I said, I want to see them actually do it.
It is. They look clear right now, positive signs. But I do, we've done this before with teams where you come out of trials with an idea of how they're going to play. Newcastle last year.
Yeah.
And then you get to the first 4 weeks, you go, it's actually the opposite.
Yeah. I will say they still looked pretty clunky, but the roles were clear.
Yeah.
It was Sam Walker's team.
I mean, them looking clunky, that's how they've looked for 70% of the last 5 years.
Yeah.
That's not unusual.
Yeah, we were trying really weird things, especially on the last tackles, and the execution just wasn't there. I hope that that's just because it's the trials. But, you know, if we get those things right in season, it will be very much unstoppable. But there were a lot of errors that I think really cost us.
Look, I'm going to sound like I'm being super negative on the Roosters. I'm not. I was relatively happy with their trial. They looked solid, in control to a degree initially. I'm just, like, their line speed's really good in defence, and they're really good at kind of locking the Eels in their own end. But I just wonder, like, is their forward pack as formidable as we're feeling like it is heading? Like, there's a lot of people that look at that and go, oh, that forward pack is a... I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure it's a top-tier forward pack at the moment.
It's a good forward pack.
And I'm not saying
it's in the top 8 or so.
Not saying it's bad, and it's definitely a top 8 forward pack. But I'm just not so sure it's as damaging as we are being led to believe by a lot of people, in my opinion.
Oh, I think a lot of that has to do with that he plays them in all different positions and no one's able to actually master their trade.
Yeah.
It's always been my concern with it.
Because, like, for example, we know how good Angus Crichton is. He's top tier. He's the best in the game at his position. But, like, multiple silly errors, you know.
Yeah, he made poor choices with offloads.
Yeah, and I just wonder, like, is he going to have a good year? I hope he does, but I guess we'll see. He was relatively quiet for most of the last season, was good towards the back end. Then I look across at Lindsay Collins, even though he scored, like, seriously, he might be, as a front rower, he scored the most tries off bombs ever. It's unbelievable. I love his effort.
In defence as well, there was a kick that Parramatta put up. It might have been a second kick. You'd expect Tedesco to be back.
Trailed in.
He's back there sweeping around.
Crazy.
Insane.
Does that in Origin too.
Yeah.
But, like, is he in his prime? No, I don't think so right now. I think he's probably a little bit past it. Still a bloody good player. White, gun, he's top tier, and he's about to hit his prime. 13 will be probably Connor Watson, you'd say? Probably, even though he came off the bench.
Well, although, yeah, Blake Steep starting there in this trial is interesting to me. I wonder if that could be an option for them moving forward. There's Wong as well, who I know, Rue, you're very big on. But they seem to think he's more of a back rower. Again, another guy that's moved between middle and edge. I mean, we've had this conversation before when it comes to the Roosters pack. I'm optimistic, but I'm looking at it from a perspective of thinking midway through this year, I think Wong will be at a new level, Steep will be at a new level, White will be able to increase as well, and that's when we'll be really one of the dominant packs. But also, we don't need to be number 1 or number 2 there because our backs and halves are so good. So,
Yeah, so it's anyway. It's just I just think that it's a very close watch. You know, I think the Roosters actually are, as you just said, they're relying on young guys to probably step up this season. Now, granted, I thought the story last year for the Roosters was your young guys that came through and killed it. But anyway, that was just But outside of that, like,
what would you do with Connor Watson? Like, how would you? Like,
he'd be my starting 13 every day of the week.
Yeah, I actually, the more I think about it, the more I think I would maybe bring him off a bench.
Okay, his impact?
After 20, 25 minutes and then just let him go.
Yeah, fair.
See, I love the little ball playing lock, but I'm a little worried that it's more the 18-19 Victor Radley style than the Isaiah Yeo, you know, sort of ball playing still, but a big body that can actually get you forward momentum. Watson doesn't really do that as much.
But don't you think he gets you momentum with his speed around the ruck?
Well, with the speed he doesn't, and he has the energy to it, but you are then missing out on physicality, which when we talk about Collins starting, for instance, does he have what he once did there?
But, like, if I'm an opposing team, Collins, White, Steep, I'm much more scared of Collins, White, Connor Watson at this stage of their careers. Obviously, Steep has shown that he's got a lot of potential in that.
I agree with you, but I'm much more scared after 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'd argue.
I just think Connor Watson has proven he's so fit. Like, I feel like he can do it all game to a degree.
Oh, he can, but I think I don't care who you are. I think you're going to be more fresh and better coming on after that. And once again, if the Roosters didn't have forwards to be able to handle the first 20 minutes, I think that's the beauty, that they should just go, just bash and barge that first 20 minutes.
Well, where do you rate, White, Collins, Steep, where does that rate for you in regards to the middle 3 forwards compared to other forward packs?
Oh, fuck knows. I don't know.
Slightly
randomly, we don't have to lock into a specific position.
Slightly above average, I'd say top 8, but not top 4.
Yeah, and so, like, whereas I put Connor Watson into that, and I go, okay, that, like, it gives a bit of spice to me. It gives me, okay, there's a bit of a, it makes it harder to go, it's the lower end of top 8 to maybe it's on the edge of top 4 kind of thing.
The thing that I think could decide it is that if you do have Watson coming off the bench, Uelu and Savala will probably both miss out. And I think with what Uelu showed in that trial, he is such a good player. If you do start Watson at 13, you can then have Uelu coming in off the bench to be part of that rotation.
Maybe the Robson injury forced it, potentially, the switch?
Could have been.
Potentially.
Although I would think that Ueli would just come in that instance and play whatever role they
Yeah,
had
I
designated
don't
for
reckon it
Robson.
changes the role at all. I think Benaya's going to do exactly what Robson was going to do. I reckon.
Okay. Fair. But it's interesting to watch. Who stood out for you guys in the Roosters side?
Mate, I think one thing for me that I really want to see this year is, like, he was obviously incredible last year. He's top try scorer. Nwanga twice. I think he top score again, but those little lapses of concentration, like getting the ball stolen off him one-on-one in that situation.
It was 2-on-1, but yeah, sure. We'll go.
Sure, whatever. It's just, and he did it for the Kangaroos at the end of the year as well, just trying to, whether it's push that pass or whatever. And I understand, you take risk with him, but it's just a lot of moments that I just think we don't need from Mark.
I'm getting a little bit worried about. He had such a huge year last year. I worry if there's going to be a little bit of a regression with Nwanga Tuase.
There could well be, but he's got this period in the first sort of third of the season. I think there's a spot open there on the wing in Origin. He needs to prove that he has that consistency and doesn't have those lapses if he wants to get picked in that arena, because if he's getting the ball stripped from him like that.
Can I get crazy?
Go ahead.
Makasini, just quietly.
I heard some shouts of that around the charity.
Like, I know it's so early, but like, fuck. Smokey out of nowhere. Anyway, the thing with Nwanga Tuase, he is one of those truly unique players where you can watch him going, what the fuck just happened? And then the next week he'll score literally the best try you've ever seen in your whole life.
He can do it 10 minutes apart.
So it's like...
He doesn't need a week to separate him.
Yeah. I think, like, I didn't ever watch his union career, but I do wonder, like, a player of his talent, why he wasn't just locked into that Wallaby side. That's a little bit, why is that the case? Now, maybe he was, but when I went and researched his career or whatever, there were periods where he kind of dropped in and out, if I remember correctly. Do you know much about that at all?
No,
not really.
I mean, he would have been really young back then. That's the only thing I'd say.
He played in that last World Cup, obviously. He was a consistent part of that. He's 25 now. That World Cup was 3 years ago,
so since then,
or so, yeah.
Might have just been the inconsistency of a young player. But
maybe.
But it's not a good sign, though.
Yeah, so that's a little bit. Again, I'm being glass half empty here. A little bit worried, but we'll see what happens. Now, he truly is such a unique player that he could just come out in round one and fucking absolutely rip. But just something to watch. He had such a big year last year, like all the accolades, all the, like try of the freaking century, making the Australian side. Then just the way he played as well when he went away with Australia, I was just like, shit, like, is he getting a bit too caught up in all that crazy stuff? Like, and just need to pull it back a little bit?
Isn't it crazy with him as well? Like, he played 23 games for the Roosters last year. He played 22 games of the regular season, scored 24 tries. He didn't score in 10 of those games. Fuck. So, like, he could score so many more.
Yeah.
And remember, for probably a quarter of those games, he played centre instead of wing.
Yeah. He's such a unique talent. Fuck,
if he plays a full season and the Roosters are humming, he could knock up 30 tries.
Yeah.
It's really not that far out of reach.
No, he's got the talent for sure. So definitely an interesting watch. I will say in his defence and also Angus Crichton's defence, Robbo has always been not okay with errors, but chance your arm kind of stuff. Like, they've never been a high completion rate style of team. So there's that. That
said, there were way too many errors in this trial for me from a Roosters perspective. I mean, a guy like Junior Ponga, I talk him up a lot. But my God.
My heart broke because he has been one of those guys where I'm like, he could arguably be the best depth outside back signing in the comp in regards to what he delivers when he does play first grade.
Yeah.
Mate, there must be something going off the field for him because that was so uncharacteristic.
It was. Yeah, I mean, there were 3 big handling errors, none of which really should have happened. Simple stuff. And it's tough for him because in years gone by at the Roosters, he's been the definite backup outside back. But now Talau is there, Cody Ramsey's there. Yep. It's not as clear cut, so he doesn't want to be doing that. Alrighty, it's now time for our Revolut Smart Bloke of the Week. It is Riles/the Eels, and this segment is brought to you by Revolut, the everyday financial app used by over 1 million Australians. Because being smart bloke isn't just about what you do on the footy field or in the headlines, it's about being smart with your money too. And with Revolut, you'll get smart money management all in one place, from everyday spending, shopping rewards, right through to travel perks. You can even order your own personalised debit card to use anywhere around the world. Right now, you can get $40 when you sign up and use your card for the first time, plus get a 1-month trial of their premium plan. Check out the link in the show notes for the details. Now, let's get into the Smart Bloke of the Week. T&Cs, end date and min spend applies. Consider PDS and TMD
at revolut.com/au. Revolut Payments Australia, Pty Ltd, AFSL 517589. The smart bloke of the week is Riles, and I alluded to it earlier with just how good their systems look like. They bring on young guys. They play very similar. How strong their young guys look when they came on. Like they looked like I won't say a level above, but definitely better than their opposition at that stage. And I watched the Eels. The way they were ball playing around the ruck, I actually think it gave the Roosters' big forward pack a lot of problems. And I wonder with Riles, he's identified that and say, okay, our forward pack is, we've got some big boppers, but we're known for our speed. We've tried to have a real speed game about what the Eels are. We saw how much kilos, obviously, Junior Ballor lost. And I just wonder whether there's other coaches watching that. I know it's just a trial, guys. I get all that. But it does make sense. Like the Roosters, they're hyper aggressive. They're in your face. What's the way around that? It's short tip on ball playing. So because basically the way line speed works, and we don't really speak about it much because it just seems like it's just part of what you do as a footy player. But usually you're only getting line speed when you are really tight next to each other, and also the target area, you're not worrying about it as much. Whereas, why do you always hear coaches and fans or whatever say, run in twos and always have an option out the back? It's to make the outside defenders have to tag that man. So let's say there's two people running with the ball, and the guy's on me that might get the ball passed to him. I can't jam in on the guy with the ball because I have to make sure he's sorted. Matter of fact, we spoke about it earlier in the Dolphins-Warriors game with Knowles, how he jammed in. Those little ball-playing moments, they keep the defence honest. And I just wonder with the Eels whether he's gone, okay, we're probably not going to beat them if we just go tit for tat, one-out footy, try to beat them, out-muscle them. That's the Roosters' game. They want to be aggressive. They want to get in the contact. So let's be smart. Let's just have a little tip on here or there, keep everything honest. And I thought it actually gave the Roosters nightmares for periods there. And so that's why he's our smart bloke of the week. I just think that might be something that a lot of other teams look at the Roosters and go, okay, short tip-ons, yep. It is risky footy. Yes, you can drop the ball. Yes, you're not running as hard because you've got to worry about tipping on. But it's something that I thought Riles' game plan was really, really interesting to watch, boys.
And when you look at the forward pack they've got between Junior, Jack DeBellin, Dylan Walker, these guys, all classy tip-ons.
Yeah.
All really good hands, really good awareness. Mate, I thought Matt Dury was unreal as well.
Mate, he was great last week too.
Yeah, I feel like every preseason there's hype around Matt Dury, and then it starts and I like him and then it fades. I don't know. I hope this is the year that he puts it all together because, mate, like that Parramatta bench between Dury, Tuivasa and Luca Moretti, if all those guys are firing, it's a damn good bench for Parramatta.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like the fact that, the DeBellin signing seems so smart now because you still get to get Dylan Walker's impact. You don't have to force to play him at 13.
Well, and that impact was felt almost immediately when Walker came on, and I think it was Dury who put through the line for the Moses.
Great line from Dury.
Yeah, the line that he ran was absolutely brilliant. To know that was coming from Dylan Walker really gave us troubles. So
Riles, he's our smart bloke of the week. I love what they're doing there, but they're obviously in different positions. The Roosters, a lot of people say them as premiership heavyweights. The Eels, they're in a rebuild, so there's probably more positives to take away from the Eels, even though it was only a 28-22 victory. So I'm not sitting here saying they towered the Roosters up by any stretch, but there's more to look at with the Eels because they're rebuilding. But even things like Sam Rani, Lorenzo, Sam Rani was phenomenal when he came on. Lorenzo immediately came on and not just was good, but was truly impacting the game. There is just so much to like about this performance for the Eels, in my opinion. If you wanted to be nitpicky, it was their first grade side probably didn't look as good as their reserve grade side. Now, granted, they were playing two different oppositions, but I think it's more just a testament to the system that Riles is putting in place. What do you reckon, Roo?
Yeah, I love the direction Parramatta are heading in. They're just ticking so many boxes, and even the development of certain guys, mate. Like Sean Russell throughout these trials.
It was GI.
I cannot believe Brian Kelly's at the Parramatta Eels and he's not going to play in the first week.
I'm with you. Sean Russell a few years ago looked like a good backup outside back in a squad. He would do a job, doesn't let you down.
Yep.
Mate, he was looking like fucking prime Greg Inglis.
He's looking like a strike centre at the moment, Sean Russell. Yeah, it's very exciting.
Mate, with him, 24th of December last year, Sean Russell signed with the Perth Bears. How astute does that look right now?
Yeah, it's a good
rates, and they'd probably get him for unders too.
Yeah. Will Pensini with a beard's a different beast, just quietly. I didn't even recognise him.
Beard strength.
Terrifying.
Who stood out for you, mate?
Yeah, Sean Russell was the big one for me. Probably the two guys I've already mentioned, Sean Russell, and I thought that Matt Dury was fantastic off the bench too. What do you think? What's Jack Williams' role in this team?
Well, I like the fact that it looks like he's just going to be on the edge of lockdown.
Yeah.
And they can build that partnership. He's a damaging ball runner. He was their player of the year last year. Like, I didn't mind him moving in between the middle and the edge with Riles there, but I think, like, if you can give him time and become a specialist edge, because, like, we're speaking of the Roosters, they love to chop and change their edges in the middle, but there's something to be said about a specialist edge back rower that understands timing, understands how to intimidate his number 7 or 6 that he's running at, understands how to work well with his halves partner. Like that, those combinations, they take time. And so I actually think Jack Williams, hopefully, if he's locked there, could have some real damage on the edge there.
Yeah, it looks like for the 7th year in a row, me calling this is the year for Kelmer, I might have missed again, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's just so much talent there, man. He just can't. I really thought under Riles, this would be the time.
Yep.
Maybe it still will be. We'll wait and see. But I don't hold it against Riles in any way, shape or form for going with Jack Williams.
Yeah, I just think that, unfortunately, Jack Williams had player of the year last year, and when he plays there, he's outstanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in terms of, him shifting between edge and middle, we focus on it from probably an attacking perspective, and it doesn't seem like a huge deal being one position further out to the sideline. But defensively, you're next to new players, and those combinations are super important. So the stability of him being able to be there would be a real strength for them.
Well, your whole outside edge is dependent on your forward defender, which is your edge back rower. So you have to get used to, does he get up quick enough to give us space to get up? Or is he lazy? Is he slow off the mark so we've got to freaking get up and slide? Or does he always jam in? And there's so many things that literally work off the forward defender, whereas anything inside the forward defender, you're chopping and changing who that person is all the time. So I like the fact that he's locked in there. And we just know Mitchell Moses will get the best out of him. We know that's when Moses and Dylan Brown, when he was at the club, when they had good edge back rollers that could get him a bit of momentum, that's when they're at their best. Like, Moses' short side plays a fucking thing of beauty. And if Jack Williams can consistently get him a quick play of the ball, you're going to get points with Moses hitting the short side.
Yep.
I do want to say, in terms of the halves pairing for the Eels, Peasant and Moses, I've been a little bit pessimistic coming into the season. I was worried that they were too similar.
Yeah, that's disgraceful. That's disgraceful stuff.
I'm happy to say I'm wrong, pretty much immediately.
Yeah, okay.
I'm really happy with the way that they were able to work together. I thought they'd be overcalling each other a bit more. I thought they're probably too much like 2 7s.
Yep.
And that the ball running 6 style of Dylan Brown suited Moses better, but it looks to be really good.
Yeah, I'm actually with you. Like, I don't get me wrong, I thought that he could do a job, but it's probably a bit more about Pezzett as a 6 than I probably gave him credit for, if I'm being honest. Like, from what we've seen anyway, like I just have him locked in as this really conservative 7 that can get around the park, but he looked a bit faster, a little bit stronger than I kind of expected, really. So I'm with you, mate. I think that maybe they can build something. And look, I tell you what, like, from a defensive perspective, knowing that there's another bloke with a gun kicking game on the other side, like, it gives Moses so much more time. And also, like, sometimes he can just chill, just go, mate, Pezzett, you take the kick, I'll sort, this out over here or whatever. So I thought Katonga had some really good moments in the first half as well.
He's a good player.
Bloody oath. And like another guy that was at the Doggies, all this talent, went to the Eels, probably didn't click immediately, but it's going well now. Mate, Lorenzo, I know I've spoken about him before, but fuck, I can't believe how good he looks every time he comes on.
Yeah, there's a lot of ability there. That's why, sort of said during the off-season, I love that. I think everyone looked at, Jonah going there for a year and then leaving, everyone, call them Parramatta cucks and all this sort of shit. Like, I think it's perfect.
Well, it just shows a club without ego, because they're going, no, this is the plan, and we're not going to rush this guy. We're going to get another good guy in. Like, who gives a shit? Like, who gives a shit about, being cucks or whatever? We're trying to win comps.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just we don't have a guy right now, but we know we'll have a guy in 12 months' time.
And the same people going, oh, you're just developing a player for the Broncos, are the same people that be killing the Eels if they brought Lorenzo in too early and smashed his confidence.
Yeah.
So, mate, Lorenzo, he looks fucking really, really good. Before we move on, anyone else on the Eels, boys?
No, that sort of sums it up.
Yeah, pretty good. With Ross, I know we spoke about him a lot, but no missed tackles, no errors, just really, really solid, as well as that attacking output. So,
alrighty, time for Titans defeat the Melbourne Storm 42-12. Yep, it's a trial, disclaimer, all that stuff out of the way. But you can't tell me that the Titans haven't just improved with their systems, the type of rugby league they play, the energy that they bring. And I want to bring you the first, really, not the first, sorry, a really, really, really good example of how far this team has come when it comes to systems, defensive ideas, and everything like that. So there's 11 minutes and about 51 seconds to go in the second half. The Titans are essentially shot for numbers. And so if you go back and watch this again, essentially the conservative play would be just get up and jam here. We're shot for numbers. Our three's been caught in. But so you can pause it and you can see the moment a good solid level NRL team would just all jam in and make that call. They get up, they stay square, and then as the play unfolds, they decide to, instead of they almost take back the decision of jamming in, decide to slide together, and an intercept happens, and then they end up scoring on a play 2 or 3 plays after that. And I just thought, like, this moment where you can pause it and you can see it. They get up, they stay square, they don't panic, or they don't even make that conservative decision. They make a top-tier decision, which is, let's wait to see how this unfolds. Yes, it's going to cost us a second here or there, but we're square, so we can afford to make that decision because we've got up far enough, we've still got 10 metres to work with if we need it. They stay square, they eventually go back on their initial decision to jam in, start sliding slightly, but then they have the opportunity to make the intercept. They make the intercept, they get caught, and then they score like 2 or 3. The same player, I'm pretty sure, is it Howe? No, he did the offload. The winger, the same player that made the intercept, ends up scoring like, 3 or 4 plays later or whatever. And I just thought, if you just want an evidence of how far this team has come in such a short time, there is no way in hell the Gold Coast Titans are making such a top-tier read, not even with their first-grade side. We're talking, these are reserve graders right now. This is at the end of the game. All their top-tier players have been brought off. Their reserve graders are making high-level defensive decisions and then executing an intercept on top of that. There's no way the Titans do it. Now, old Titans, they might have read the intercept and they do it that way, but not in a way where every base is covered. Whatever happens, unfolds in that play, they're making the right decision and putting themselves in the right position to make the right play. And I just thought that's a microcosm of how far they've come. On top of that, like Jaden Campbell earlier in the game came out and shotted Lasati at 18:37 minutes to go in the first half. Like, I think it was twice as well that he shot at people. Like, this is a different Titan side. And, like, Rue, I'm daring to dream. I mean, they've broken my heart so many times. It's been a toxic relationship. I feel like I've given so much and they've given me nothing back. They might be giving us something back this year, Rue.
Yeah, fucking just mentioned Jaden Campbell. I saw that moment too. Like, he's got no mirrors in his house anymore.
I couldn't believe it. Lasati is huge.
He was pretty much playing front row for the Indigenous side the other day, the way he was taking them on and everything. I agree with you, mate. I think there's a different attitude up there. I think that all of the optics have been so positive. It's only a trial. We know. We've been hurt before. But fuck, I'm signing up for another hurting. I'm here for it. I'm really liking what I'm seeing. Optically, there's a lot of things to like. They seem to be moving in the same direction.
Every play, they come in and celebrate. All those little things.
Yep.
Like every little play, whether it's a try or a forced error or whatever, everyone's in there getting around it.
Everyone's in. Everyone wants to stay there. There's just positives all over the place. And, like we walk away from this game, they won 42-12 over the Melbourne Storm. The player I expected to talk about was Keeney. Thought he was somewhat quiet.
Matter of fact, yeah, in regards to like the top 5 players, he probably wouldn't have been in my
probably
top 5
wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Which is crazy to say.
Yeah.
Not that he played poorly by any stretch.
No, but it's just like, they're a good team. There's strike weapons all over the park. I think AJ Brimson had some really nice touches in this game that I like to see. I thought Jojo Fafita, his touches were unreal.
Yep.
That kid's got so much potential. I'm so interested to see how this year plays out for him. I think they need to leave him at right centre. That's your spot. For the next 10 weeks, it's yours.
I'm with you, mate. And Jojo Fafita, the talent has never been an issue with him. Like, he has truly been a victim of, unfortunately, a poor system at the Gold Coast Titans, in my opinion. You take him and put him in a top-tier system, he's one of the more exciting outside backs in the competition. We're talking about a guy that was able to run down the Fox, I think. Also, used to be a sprinter against Lachlan Kennedy. So, like, this guy is quick as lightning. Quick as lightning.
Jojo Fafita did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
He used to be a genuine 100-metre sprinter. So, like, at state titles and stuff like that, which, again, people just don't know because he hasn't, I guess, had the profile of other players. But, funnily enough, he actually did get ran down in this game, which I was surprised. But, he's put on, it's different. Once you start putting on weight, your body's not used to it. Anyway, that aside, mate, I'm with you. I think Jojo Fafita is an outstanding player. What do you think of Titans.
All preseason, the optics have been brilliant since from when they signed Tino again, as well as Cooper Bai, both reportedly rejecting interest from much more successful clubs. And then they beat a Dolphins side who was stronger than they were on paper. Now they beat the Melbourne Storm quite comprehensively. I think a very key thing is that this is the first season in what feels like forever where we're not talking about who's playing where in the spine. I feel like we know it. And that stability really is on show in terms of their attack and the fluidity of it. So maybe it shouldn't be such a surprise, but they seem to have a system that they believe in now, and it does look very, very good.
And I think that, I think it was fair to always question it because, was Campbell a full-on 7 at the start of last year? I don't think he was. Has he, with every bit of evidence since then, crept towards me going, you know what, he's an out-and-out 7? I think that the one real question about could he be a 7 is defence. And so far, at least, he's been really good.
Well, they had Kieran Foran there, and obviously he was very good for the club, but it did create that headache. Now the spots are pretty much well assigned.
And Brimo, although his best position is fullback, having a full preseason there can't hurt. Just gives him comfortably. Brimo is such an interesting player because he's at the Titans, he's a big fish in a small pond and probably doesn't have the profile of other people. But if you actually watch the Titans, he constantly is one of their better players. I know he won Player of the Year last year for them, so it's well, of course, then. But it's I don't think you understand how many times against good clubs, even though they're losing, he'll score a try or try assist or whatever.
Gun to your head, has Brimson played his last game for the Maroons or not?
Oh.
You got Reece Walsh, you got KP. He's obviously close to the ultimate utility you could bring off the bench, though.
They're going to have that 6-man bench in Origin, right?
Yep.
That could
helps.
be the deciding
You know what's
factor.
weird is, and I just have to be honest, guys. My first thought was no, he played for England as a Queenslander. That's just what I thought. I know people separate state and country. Other people do. That was my immediate reaction. No, he played for England. He's not. That's that done. Even though he's already played for Queensland. So that was my first thought. I know it doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
It's illogical. It's an emotional reaction. But that was my reaction as a Queenslander. It was he chose not to play for Queensland. He chose to play for England. So I go, you made that choice? That's my emotional reaction. I'd have to sit on it a little bit longer, I think.
Okay.
Because he did choose to play for England over Queensland.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't
And that's a very Queensland decision. Got a bit of Jamie Lyon about him, Matty.
No, you just worry about winning the series. Jesus Christ. And that means something to me. I'm not knocking him for making that choice, but it was a choice, the English jersey over the Queensland jersey. That I don't know.
So if Ponga chooses,
It's a really
the
good
Kiwis,
argument
has
I've
he
never
done as
thought
well?
about before.
Sorry?
If Ponga chooses the Kiwis,
No,
has he
but
done as
Ponga
well?
chose when Ponga was here with Queensland, he chose that over the Kiwis initially. You know what I'm saying?
But did Brimson not choose England? Because the rule hadn't been changed yet. So Brimson
I don't think at that stage of his career. Maybe he did. But, okay, I will say this. It is weird. It feels, we've been over this a million times with the eligibility. Me as a Queenslander, it feels weird if you choose another nation over the state. It feels weird. I understand as the game, it's the right call. It makes sure we have the best players playing Origin. I get all that. But it still doesn't feel right for me. If you choose another nation over our state. That's my opinion. Whereas the Tonga and Samoan stuff, they weren't choosing another nation over the Queensland,
Yeah.
But that's just me. I'm a nobody. I'm just some fucking dude with an opinion. But yeah, in regards back to the Titans, another guy, I think it's Howe, H-U-A.
Yep.
Wow. He was impressive. Super, super impressive. He obviously got that try off a great line, but it was actually his offload to another try later in the game where I was like, wow, he looked outstanding.
Yeah, they were saying in comms yesterday that he went over to England and played second grade for a year or so, sort of just to get experience. Did anyone else hear that conversation?
So in the championship?
Yeah, he went and played for Featherston, I want to say, maybe.
Wow.
Just to get some experience. He's come back. He's played a few first grade games last year and held his own, but he definitely looks like he's taking a step up.
Well, benefiting from the Hane system.
Yep.
I thought Bo Fermo looked freaking phenomenal at the start of the game. Stronger than he's ever looked, more powerful, faster, all that good stuff.
He's so underrated. I still think people don't. For me, is he an automatic for Queensland next year or
Not an automatic, because let's say Lukey kills it and Anai
I
kills
guess
it.
Dave Fafita's back.
Fafita's
in the
back
piece
as
too.
well.
That's true. Yeah.
But
He just
should
feels
be
like
in the
an
mix.
Origin player to me.
Yeah.
Bo Fermo.
And he's got the centre versatility
Yes,
as well.
yep.
So that's a big help in Origin.
Yeah.
Another thing that I loved, a way the Titans approach it, a little bit similar to the Tigers, where there was no respect to the Storm. I feel like sometimes clubs that aren't as big as the big dogs. Like, they go into games and they're almost, don't want to ruffle the feathers and don't want to get in their faces or whatever. I just love the fact that Titans like, we don't care that you're Melbourne Storm. Like, we know your history. We know how good you are. We don't give a shit. Like, we do not care. And I feel like old Titans team, they didn't really play like that. There was too much respect given. I liked that from the Titans. In the first half, they were up 16-12. Yeah, they had less possession and a worse completion rate against the Melbourne Storm.
So the other thing that rocked me, the commentator said yesterday, Mo Fodawaker is the second highest capped Titans player of all time.
Wow.
In round 11, he'll break Mark Minicello's record. It's only 173 games, but he'll be the highest capped Titan of all time in round 11, maybe 12 if they've got a bye.
Well, he's playing good. I give him that. He looks bloody good in the 2 trials I've seen.
Well, something that sort of hit me as well in terms of records and that. I saw on their jersey it says Titans established 2007, and it hit me, this is their 20th season.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Wow.
It does not feel like 20 years ago they came into the competition.
20th season. That's
There's 3 players that are currently running around for the Gold Coast Titans that are in their top 10 most capped of all time. Mo Fodawaker's number 2. Who do you reckon the other 2 are?
Brimo? No,
Brimo's one of them,
Okay.
yes. The other one I probably wouldn't have got. I wouldn't have even thought about him, but he's been there for a long time.
Philip Sammy?
Yeah, well done. Yeah, Phil Sammy,
He knows
142.
ball. Denon knows ball.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming.
knows ball.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming. Look, great trial for the Titans. I mean, I don't know what more you could ask as a Titans fan for these trial matches. You truly couldn't have got a better result. And I know people will try and shout you down. It's only a trial or whatever. We're talking about a club that probably should have won a spoon or very close to it last year. Like, this is gone from a basket case to looking pretty good. I probably still don't have him in my 8, but mid-table, fighting in that mid-table, I reckon there's a chance now. Again, we'll see. I'm ready to have my heart broken, though.
What do you reckon in terms of the hooker spot? I know there was discussion last week of Somerton versus Verrills. I know Verrills started this, but I thought Somerton's service was very, very good. There was one try especially. It was sort of a cut-up pass close to the line.
I think I would probably start Verrills, but if by the end of the year Somerton is the main man, I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's going to be Verrills is going to need to really earn his position or prove that he belongs there, I think.
Do you think Somerton comes off the bench?
Oh, man, I haven't thought of their 14.
Now that Randall's not really a utility, I think you sort of have to...
Yeah, I was about to say, and especially with the 6-man bench, you have the
I
luxury.
have no doubt he'll be on the 6-man bench, but do you reckon he'll be on the perfect day if everything goes to plan?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, though. With a 6-man bench, you have the luxury of a specialist hooker at 14 nowadays.
Yep.
So it will probably bring back that specialist hooker ready to go. So probably on the bench, similar to the Warriors. I'm trying to think who else. So yeah, it's a tough one. I haven't thought about the bench yet. Because even how could jag a bench spot? I don't know. It's not like they're all fully locked in. I love that Tino's back at front row. Love that.
I think it's a no-brainer. Even if it's just optically, I think it feels better to me.
Yeah, I'm with you. And it's just almost like the mental side of it. Randall at 13, but you've also got Curtis Morin that can play a fair bit of that as well.
Yeah.
I want Chris Randall making 1 million tackles. I don't want Tino doing that shit. I don't want him making 1 million tackles. I don't want him having to have hit up. There's almost this reputation of a 13 that you've got to be the jack of all trades, hit up merchant, tackle merchant. And it's I don't want my 6'4" genetic freak doing a job that a battler can do.
Yep.
Respectfully. I just never got it. I never understood it. The amount of extra minutes and tackles that he's had to make under other coaches is you are just ruined. You've got a weapon of mass destruction and you use him as a little pistol. It's what the fuck?
Well, look at Melbourne Storm, for example. They've been rock solid with Trent Loiero there at 13. He's not necessarily the most skilled player or anything like that, but he gets through the work at a very high quality. So.
High quality defender, does his job in attack. That's it. Whereas my front rower, I want you to bend the line. I want you to create momentum, and Tino can do that. And I think a 1-2 punch of Moe at his best and Tino at his best, that's Origin level, really. Fuck. So, on to the Melbourne Storm.
Sorry, just before we do move on, I wanted to give a shout out to the winger Sialateli Fayamani for the Titans. He got to try himself, 132 metres, 5 tackle breaks. But something interesting with him, he is so good that he's listed twice on NRL.com in the Titans player section.
There you go.
Once is Sialateli, once is just Siale. So he's so good. He had to be there 2
Wow.
times.
Wow, doing so much
impressive
work, they thought 2 players were playing.
Yeah, that's it.
Mate, there's so much potential there. It reminds me a little bit of Toto. It's just the rough around the edges stuff, like the silly offload or the drop ball or whatever. I'm sure it's probably been his Achilles heel for a while. Like, he's always been able to bust tackles and bend the line and make a bunch of meters. But I do think there's absolutely a diamond in the rough there. With I don't want to say his name because I don't want to butcher it, but
Literally fire money.
Fire money. Anyway, I think there's absolutely a diamond in the rough there. You just got to carve out those little extra errors that he makes and stuff like that. Just got to sort that out. And if he does, he will be. I actually think I think Timmy put up. He is a super coach. Little cheeky cheapy.
Yeah, he's a cheapie this year. Him and Setu too. There's a few getting around. So.
Yeah. So have a look at that. Anyway, onto the Storm. I want to regret saying it. I'm going to regret saying it. I know I'm going to regret saying it because they weren't necessarily at full strength, even though I thought Wishart was outstanding. But I'm just getting a bad feeling with the Storm. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting biased by all this other stuff going off the field. But I don't know. I trust they'll prove me wrong. But if I'm being fair dinkum about what I've seen so far in the trials, it hasn't impressed me as much as I was hoping. But if there's truly one team that could play fucking terrible in the trials and then go on and fucking win a comp, it's the Melbourne Storm. But just now with what I'm feeling, there's an air of unrest. I don't know.
And I think with the Melbourne Storm as well, when you say it could be a little bit ugly and stuff, I know in my mind, I mean a bad season could be 6th or 7th.
Oh, yeah. They're making the 8 guys.
Yeah, there's
Storm
10
don't
teams out there that would give their right arm to be finishing 7th.
Yeah.
I'm looking at them right now thinking if they finish in the top 4, I think that's a really good effort. With the squad they've got and the cards they've been dealt with injuries and all that sort of stuff, and just with the class of other teams in this competition, I've still got them as a top 8 side for sure. I've still got them as a team that come September, you're not going to want anything to do with. But yeah, I do think at the moment, optically, it's really interesting. Like, you're probably going to have Moses Leo now out there. I would assume they knew about this Coates injury for a while, which the Lomax stuff makes a little bit more sense now.
Because just for the audience, Melbourne Storm notorious at locking down. You don't know what's happening.
You don't know what's going on. Yeah.
Whereas other clubs, they'll say, "Oh, this player got injured yesterday," or this. Whereas Storm, they'll keep something from you from fucking. Like, they'll get upset if it gets out without their.
Yes.
That's kind of club.
That's the culture down there. Yeah. I don't walk away from this trial and think it's the end of the world for Melbourne, but I think I tipped them to finish 5th or 6th, and I'm still sort of sitting in that boat. I'm probably a little bit more confident about that than I was 3 weeks ago.
I've been pretty high on them coming into this season, but I think the Coates injury does sort of shift things for me. They lost Grant Anderson as well, who would have slid in that position. So,
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, so they're now really lacking there. So it explains even more the whole Lomax thing. But look, I mean, for me, I look at someone like Fa'alongo. I thought he had a very good first half. Still has some defensive issues to sort out, but was good in that position. I just think it's going to take time for a lot of these guys to not necessarily learn the system, but execute it on the NRL level and execute it well.
Or even at the Storm level, which is...
That's the thing, which is even higher. A guy like Fa'alongo, I mean, he's played a lot of games, but mostly on the wing. He's only played 7 NRL games at fullback. So that's the kind of thing where throughout the season we'll see them grow. Could be a slow start, but I have no doubt they'll be there at the end.
In attack, he is so electric. Holy shit. Like, if anything, I felt he probably stole the show from Kinney in regards to show-stopping moments and tackle breaks. But, the knock-on has never been attack for Fa'alongo. Maybe you could say, like, I don't know, fitting in systems and being out the back and the 3-on-2 plays, like, maybe you develop that, whatever. But just defensively, like, I think he's really going to have to work hard on that.
Yeah, and from what I've gathered, he is working hard.
For sure.
I think he's been spending a lot of time with Billy Slater. I think there will still be holes in Sua's game, but I think we give him the first 10 weeks or so and then really reassess.
And also understand he's, 21? We're talking about a young footy player. This is only natural to build out his game. Like, Pappenhausen's ball playing that we saw towards the end of his career, he absolutely did not have it at the start of his career. I can promise you that much. Even Billy Slater didn't have that stuff.
One question around their best 17. Obviously, Katoa won't be playing this year. No Sean Bloor in this trial, so the back rows were Joe Chan and Lasati. If Bloor does come straight back into that side, who do you reckon misses out?
Sounds like Chan's won the right edge.
Yeah.
So he'll be there, which I'm a little bit surprised by. I thought Lasati would have probably been the front runner.
I'm not so sure Bloor goes straight back into the side. I'm not so sure.
So he'd start Chandler in the starting.
Well, you got to remember last year he was a bit touch and go in the starting side. He moved to the bench, and I know he's injured or whatever. But I'm not so sure that if they were to name their starting side, like let's say round 1 tomorrow, and he had no warm up games or whatever, that he would get in the starting side.
Well, I mean that's that's one hurdle. I mean we don't even know what's wrong with Bloke. We haven't heard anything. He hasn't played in a trial. He hasn't been cited. I don't know where he's at. So he might not even be available. It might end up being Joe Chan on the right, Lasardi on the left. Because the other thing is too, Trent Leary is going to miss the first 2 weeks with a suspension. I would assume Alec McDonald or Wishy jumps into 13. But I think it'll be really interesting with Melbourne in that the side you see for the first 3 weeks might not be what it looks like anyway. I'm excited for Joe Chan to get this opportunity though.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a bit of a stop-start. What do you got there, Matty?
Yeah, Blore, unclear, but it probably has something to do with the breach notice they gave him in relation to an incident last year. But
he had some off-field stuff.
Yeah, but the details haven't been announced, but that's probably what's going on.
I will say some positives. I thought Tyrone Wishart looked fucking phenomenal. And that kick that Munster put in for Fa'alongo try, holy shit. I had someone message me with the goal, I feel bad saying it, but like, he wouldn't have scored that if it wasn't a shit bounce. I was like, I wrote back, bro, you understand what a rugby league ball is, don't you? What? What an incredible kick.
Yeah.
For fun. Yeah, I couldn't realize that, bro. Have you been watching soccer your whole life and then you just like realize the ball? Anyway. But yeah, look, I thought Wishart, especially at the opening 20 minutes or whatever, I thought he looked electric at 7.
Yeah.
And I thought, if you're a Perth Bears fan, about 6 of them, you'll be going, hell yeah.
Yeah, we've seen it from him before. Whenever he comes into that position, he's able to dominate. He's got a good combination, I think, with both Munster and Hughes playing 2 different roles there. I'm not too surprised, and he's great as a backup there.
Who stood out for you in the Storm? I will say who didn't stand out for me. I mean, I know we got some line breaks late, but Warbrick, what the hell was doing, brother? Where did that come from?
The back line is so interesting, isn't it? Like just the lack of depth that they have there. That if Lomax doesn't end up landing there, I am between Seve, Leo, Warbrick. Like if you have 1 or 2 injuries there, they're in trouble.
Well, I mean, didn't a young fella start on the wing?
Hugo Peel started on the wing, who I think Hugo's a fullback, not a winger. But I don't think he'll be there round 1 personally. You've got Suolagi, who made his debut last year, who's another really talented kid there. But yeah, I don't know. I almost I don't know quite what to expect from Melbourne, and I'm sure we're going to get to round 5 and go, I know we're going to get exactly what we've got the last few years. But I don't know. It just looks different this year to what it has previously.
Yeah, I know the comments are going to be like, oh, we always get counted out. Like, I get, leave your comment. Yeah. Awesome.
For the record, we're not counting you out. We've all got you in the top 8.
We're just going, well, last year I had you as the premiership favourites. Yep. This year, there's just a lot of moving pieces, like Warbrick form. I know, towards the end, obviously, he had those line breaks, which is good. Coates gone. So your back line will probably be... Is Meaney good to go?
I think so.
I don't understand why he didn't play in this trial, but probably Meaney in the centres. Leo, I reckon he's done enough to jag a spot. I actually thought he was quite good, at least at the start of the game on the weekend. So Meaney, Leo, Warbrick, Fa'alongo.
Howarth, is he...
Yeah, I think Howarth is good to go. I think. It's Melbourne, you don't know. You don't fucking hear anything.
Because why didn't he play?
Yep.
Nothing on Meaney, not sure.
I'll tell you what they could really use. A coach who's literally the greatest player developer of all time. That'd be great for this young, inexperienced side.
It's true. But yeah, look, I definitely got him still in my top 8. I just get a sense of I'm probably being biased about the Lomax situation, and that's giving me this like subconscious what something feels off here. Like what's going on? But I can't help. I'm just being honest with you guys. I can't help but feel like something feels off. I don't know. Just saying.
Even like in this game, like I would have assumed going to round 1. Like, do you have Jack Hetherington in your, 19?
Yeah, absolutely.
He had 1 run for 6 metres, so he wasn't on the field all that much.
Marley?
Mawali had 4 runs. I don't know. I just can't. It all just seems a bit bizarre to me.
Yeah. And it's not like they had more possession too, so it's not like they were actually peppered and couldn't... so, look, still when their first full-strength side was on the field, looked good and solid. Looked like the typical Storm. Grind you out. Got Munster that have the big moments. Harry Grant, we know what he can do. Look, as I said, if there's any team that gets the pass, it's the Melbourne Storm. Okay, on to the next game. Rabbitohs defeat the Sea Eagles 30-6. And, like, I don't think you could have asked much more of the Rabbitohs, to be honest. Like, yeah, okay, there were a few opportunities they missed, especially in the first half where they were quite dominant, in my opinion. Sea Eagles. Let's just hope that was a trial, because that was bad. They looked so pedestrian in attack. Completely dominated through the middle for long periods. I'm just hoping Seabold is testing things and all that kind of stuff, because respectfully, it didn't even feel like Rabbitohs got out of second gear. I don't know if maybe I'm being extreme here, but that's kind of how it felt watching it.
Yep, that's how I felt. I didn't feel like Manly really threatened South Sydney at any point. I still have serious concerns about this forward pack going into this year. I understand Olakau'atu will come back into the side, but...
And look, I get it. You know, Jake Trbojevic was missing, but, you know, he's a spiritual kind of connection to the middle, so maybe that's missing. But you got Jake Trbojevic, Ben Trbojevic. Look, Ben Trbojevic for me is still... He's a first grader, but not the impact that some people are suggesting he's going to have, unless he goes to a new level this year. Obviously, Tommy, huge in. And then there's one other guy that obviously Olakau'atu. So I get it. There's some people missing.
Guys to go back in there for sure. Yeah,
but it's just like, man, I don't know.
Well, the young forward who I thought could be their spark this season was Caleb Navale. He's now injured for the whole year.
Yep.
You know, we saw a guy like Nathan Brown also spend time off the field with the Simmons, so he'll probably be suspended.
Bro,
to start
holy
season.
shit!
Like,
yeah, fuck.
It really doesn't help them at all.
That's the sort of attitude stuff that I'm just like, you know, you're short on guys already. What are you doing?
Like, and you look, Brownie's a legend. I've met him off the field. He's a legend of a bloke. But on the field, it's like at that age, you're still doing that. Just pointless. Like what? What? It's just I don't get it.
Going off the stats, arguably the best forward in this game was Siwa Taukiaho, and he's 34 years old. Like when you're at that point, there are serious concerns about the forward pack, unfortunately.
Let's talk about this fucking fullback situation. I'm trying not to get too worked up on this, because someone please explain to me. You've got a fullback in Tommy Turbo who, best fullback in the game when he's on, blah, 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 all that stuff out of the way. Yes, he did play 20 games last year, but you cannot tell me, look me and be serious and say that he was at full strength for those games. He was within himself because he didn't want to get injured. Understandably so. It's been a treacherous run with injuries. So I'm not knocking him for doing that. Instead of putting Kohler, even Garrick, or Hopewadi back there to get them some reps back there, you put a fringe reserve grade centre/winger back there to get some runs at the back. Make that make sense to me.
I can hear an argument for not putting Kohler and Garrick there.
One of them.
I can hear that.
No.
Having Lehigh not there is outrageous. That I just cannot get around at all. I still disagree with not having Clayton before Kohler and Garrick, but I can understand it. They're your centres. You want to
get some combinations.
Lehigh not playing him there, I cannot make sense of that. I can't even try to defend that.
So, like, are you telling me that if Tommy goes down, you're not moving Lehigh, Kohler, or Garrick back there? What? Like, do we need more reps of Garrick, Kohler, and Lehigh in the centre or wing position to see whether they can play that at first grade?
Crazy.
Like, and what's bizarre about this is we had this same issue, I think, at the start of last year, where Kohler went back there. Then it was like, no, Lehigh's our guy. He's the next fullback up. Like, if anything happens, what the?
And I have no doubt Lehigh still is, but play him there. It just, I can't make any sense of it.
I just absolutely bizarre selection decision. Like, and also, like, what does Folau get out of it?
Yeah. And also, like, at the end of the day, does it matter that much? No, it doesn't. But it's just another thing out of Manly that I just can't make sense of. I don't understand the decisions that are being made there.
But it's the second time in the space of 2 years that you'll go, okay, we're going to play Tommy at centre. So one game will be Kohler or whatever. I can't even remember what happened. But what I know for sure is something weird happened where, like, Kohler was there, then Lehigh became the guy. Over the last couple of years, like, this fullback position, like, you've got Lehigh. It's locked in. It's guaranteed. He's the next fullback up. Matter of fact, I promise, look, I don't know for sure. I'd be willing to bet a lot of money that in all their recruitment meetings, when they're looking at their squad and the depth of it, everything, they would be saying, when Tommy Turbo retires, Lehigh's our fullback. Like,
As he should be.
as he should be. Like, mate, I cannot believe. It's a small thing, but it almost is like a big thing when you look at like some of these other decisions that are being made. I don't know.
The other one I wanted to touch on, and it's very early days, a lot of water to go under the bridge still, but I do wonder at some point this season, I reckon it'll be sooner rather than later, I think you got to chuck Walsh at 5'8".
Brooke has had so much opportunities.
Brooks has had so many chances, and I understand he was in a bad situation before he's come over to the Manly Seagulls. He's done okay.
They
He
look
hasn't taken
way more
advantage of
dangerous.
much. They look so much more dangerous.
Yeah.
And if I'm at the point now where I'm playing the Manly Seagulls this week, I'm not concerned by Luke Brooks. It doesn't worry me. Joey Walsh is a little bit unorthodox. He's confident.
3 runs, 25 metres.
Yeah.
I'm about to blow your minds, and I wish this information came out in the code segment, but it wasn't. It only got updated an hour ago. Nathan Cleary, grade 2 careless high tackle. Nathan Brown, grade 1 careless high tackle. Nathan Brown's playing this week. He got a fine. He shot up out of the line, got sin-binned, got a grade 1 careless high tackle compared to Nathan Cleary, grade 2.
And didn't the person he tackled have a HIA?
I can't recall, but I'll look that up.
That's just because Nathan Brown's one of the game's elite superstars and they want to play him.
Wow. That's crazy.
I don't care about Nathan Brown getting a fine, but the fact that he's a grade 1 and Cleary's a grade 2, that makes no sense to me.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense.
Anyway, he's playing.
Judiciary.
Sure. I think a change at 5'8" is going to happen at some point this year, is my little tip going into it.
It probably has to, and I think in the end of the day, this is probably what's best for Joey Walsh, but I'd be a little worried bringing in a young half behind these forwards. He's not going to have a very, it's going to be a baptism of fire, let's put it that way.
On the oath it is, yep.
Yep.
The problem is like, at the moment, Brooks has had, outside of his first few games for Manly, he's had essentially like next to no impact.
Yeah, and it might be a baptism of fire, and that's fine. But hot tip: if he plays this year or next year, it's going to be a baptism of fire.
Yeah, and it's the NRL.
Like, it's the
You gotta do
NRL.
it,
It's fire.
And they don't have the luxury of.
They don't have the luxury to be able to do it. I would rather Joey Walsh gain experience in NRL than them float along like they are at the moment. And hopefully we get into the season, they prove me wrong, they do well. But I'm very concerned about it.
What's your guys' thoughts on the fact that they've got essentially, and maybe it'll change, but Nathan Brown is ahead of both Bullymore and Hetherington for the 13 jersey?
I love Bullymore's impact off the bench, so if that's the way that they view it, I can understand that. And they just want Nathan Brown to absorb the early stuff, but
Surely Hetherington's
a different story.
I hope there's more to that. I hope it's managing their load and injury. I hope there's something to it, because I agree with you. I don't.
Hetherington came onto a grand final essentially with no knees and no groins and was one of the better players in the grand final, and he can't make a fucking Manly trial at the starting 13
Yeah.
with one of the weaker fullbacks in the comp. And he is like, in regards to like modern 13s with a smaller body, good motor, get across the field, great tackle. He came on and absolutely fucking jammed. Who was it? Was it Joey Walsh? Someone. He jammed him. That is mind-blowing to me, that he is jersey 16 off the bench. I'd go Bullymore before. And I'd bring Brown on for impact and just go, mate, obviously don't get suspended, but just go hard.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
More and more the decisions at Manly that we have to assume that there's something else that we don't know. How likely really
But even
is that?
like the answers we're throwing up, I still look at it and go, I hate that forward pack still. I still have so many concerns. Even if they do exactly what I think they should do or what we think they should do, I still have a lot of concerns about it compared to other packs in the comp.
Yeah, and speaking about Leafy, I think it is. Leafy, I hope I'm saying that correctly. I tried to work on it during the week when I got some messages, so thank you.
It would be.
Leafy. There's a real moment here, and the reason why I'm pinpointing Leafy is not because he deserves all the negative connotations with the Manly forward pack. It's more because we're looking at a guy that can play Origin. We're looking at a guy that could be top tier. But I think that this is a real... I spoke about last week about the level of NRL, the pace of it, and a big boy like that, that's the only question I have with him. It's not, can he bend the line? Does he have the physical attributes, all that kind of stuff? It's, does he have, the mental and also physical capacity to go with the speed of the game? Anyway, so it was 15 minutes to go. Lafai does the right thing. Lafai does the right thing, and he almost gives a 6 again away on his line. So does the right thing, almost gives away, slows down the ruck because otherwise, a quick play the ball, they score. He gets back in as marker, but then doesn't get off the line, and Mamazelis scores a really, really soft try. And I just feel like that moment there, that's the moment that you go, this is NRL. Like, you might be big enough and physically good enough to win the first play, but NRL's not about the first play. It's about the second and third play. There are plenty of other physically talented players that do well in New South Wales Cup, but they can't go to NRL because it's all about the first, second, and third play. And just that little lack of repeat effort, I think that's going to be the separation of... It's what he's going to have to work on over the next few years. Yeah. Guys, we're talking about a 19, 18-year-old. Like, this is natural for a guy like him to have these little parts of his game. He's going to learn it, but I just felt like that's the little thing he's going to have to work on this year and the year after that kind of thing.
It's exactly what trials are for. To have those moments, learn from them. He'll be better for it. But yeah, just with the season kicking off next week and him being a wildly important cog in this system now,
bro,
it's alarming.
He could be... Outside of Fogarty being at the club, he could be the most important player at the club right now.
Well, put it this way, for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, we had sitting on the bench a guy that's played 150, probably 200 games now, Adam Elliott, and he's nowhere near as important to the South Sydney makeup to what that young fella is for the Manly makeup, in my opinion.
Yep. I know it's a trial, but thoughts on Fogarty?
I think what we saw from Fogarty is sort of what we're going to see this season.
What I'll say is this, and this is going to sound like a negative, like I'm having a crack at Fogarty. I'm not. I'm such a fan of him. His career is such a story about perseverance, backing yourself, incredible. But I think people are getting a bit caught up in Raiders' form last year and connecting that purely to Fogarty rather than an incredible forward pack. And so I think that Fogarty is a good NRL 7. There's no denying that. A good, solid NRL 7. But my worry is if you're just a solid NRL 7 and you don't have a good forward pack, it makes you look like almost a bad NRL 7.
Yeah.
And that's my concern at Manly, that he's going to cop a lot of flack, but it's the engine room that needs to improve, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think as well, him as a ball player, like he hasn't played behind a side like this for 4 years now.
Like, even the Titans forward pack, I'd argue is better than the Manly one.
Yeah.
By a lot.
Yes. Yeah, for sure, I think. So, like, it's going to be a real transition for him as well. So, yeah, there's just so many red flags with this.
And he's getting, respectfully, but on the weekend, like, Brooks didn't do much.
Didn't do him any favours.
Yeah.
No.
This is the thing with Manly. I predicted them pretty low on the ladder, and a lot of people have said, they've signed the minor premiership winning halfback, but if you don't have the space afforded to you from your forwards, you're not going to be able to do the kind of things that he was doing with the Raiders. When I look at the Manly roster, like, their backline is so good, their halves are decent. It's just imbalanced because if you don't have that full momentum, you're not getting the ball out to those backs anyway. So it concerns me what they'll be able to do with that.
And I mean, for as good as their backline is, which it is, don't get me wrong, like, South Sydney picked them apart the other day.
Like
South Sydney didn't get out of first gear and they were cruising on the edges.
And also, like...
on both edges, not just the stacked left edge.
Yep. Well, I got a good, interesting kind of take on that, which I found super fascinating yesterday. But on top of that, like, if your backline is your strength and the other backline is actually still better, that's a war. Like, if your backline is your strength, it should be the best in the competition. But is Manly's backline the best in the competition? Like, no, I don't think so.
No.
It's good, but it's not the best. It's top 8, but it's not the best in competition. So that's okay. On to the Rabbitohs. I understand they were definitely more stacked than the Manly side because Manly missing a few players. But I mean, you got to be happy with that. Cody Walker absolutely ripping. Fafita's essentially his first run. He might have taken one before that. Straight through the line break. I don't think there's much else you could ask for it. I'm really interested that. I think we've been sitting here going, the left side's going to score a bunch of tries. But I wonder whether, because I think it was twice, that as soon as they laid an unders line with Fafita, they actually went the long side. And why would you do that? I think you would do that because they're going to overstack on Fafita. And so I think there's a chance where Campbell Graham actually might be the one scoring all the tries this year because teams are overcompensating for, even if it's just for feeder, more people are getting, like, for example, when feeder got dropped under, it took a front rower to stop him. Otherwise, no one else was going to stop him. And I just wonder whether we're getting so focused on this left side. Yeah, they'll tear teams apart. We saw that. But I wonder whether they'll actually be used as more of a decoy, because you've still got Jack White and Campbell Graham on the other side. We're not talking and Tallis as well. Like, we're not talking about busters here. We're talking about origin level players. Like, and so I wonder whether that's a tactic from Wayne, almost a bit of a misdirection of like, yeah, maybe coming out of our own end, we'll use that left side to get meterage. But actually, when we're getting good ball, we're using that side to create space on the other side. Because I saw it, like Jack White nearly went over 3 or 4 times.
Yep.
And so...
In the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, so I think it might be a bit of a misdirection of using Fafita and the boys and Walker and that as... Or everything gets dragged that way, boom, we go back the other way.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the left edge in a moment. But, mate, I thought, like, as you said, the right edge, Jack White was unreal. Campbell Grant, I thought Tallis Duncan was sensational.
Bro, he's reminding me of Tallis. He's reminding me of Angus Crichton.
Yeah.
How powerful he is.
It feels like Tallis has worked out how powerful he is.
Oh, fuck.
I'll tell you what, mate. I said it last week. I would have played Jack White and Latrell Mitchell at 5'8". I thought Ashton Ward was outstanding.
Yeah, I'm with you
too. Timmy said last week he would have gone with Ward and just backed him in. I think it's the right call in hindsight. He looks so confident to me. Well,
that's our service of the week, Cody Walker and Ward. I'm with you, mate. I think Ward in attack he actually reminds me a lot of Cleary. And I would have just gone safe bet, Whiten in there. You've got a centre that can do the job. Defensively, Whiten's going to be great. But Ward's won me over. Walker and Ward, I thought they were outstanding. And, outside of like maybe Nico and Trindle or whatever, I actually thought they looked the most in sync out of some of the halves pairing. Because it just completely unlocked Cody Walker's running game. Like, I know we know Cody Walker has a running game, but maybe the soft tissue injuries kind of dampened it last year. But like, we're just like, oh shit, I remember Cody Walker's one of the best attacking players in the competition.
Did you hear the interview that Cody Walker did at halftime? Like, Jake Duke just sort of said, talking about the first half, and he sounded like an NFL quarterback. He said, mate, I've got so many weapons on this edge. Yep. I'm going to have so much fun.
That's scary.
It's terrifying. The way that he said it, and then he sort of said, you seen him move well. He's like, it's the first real preseason I've had in 3 years.
Yeah, wow.
It sounded like a guy that just knew, I'm going to pull this apart this season.
Mate, when he went bang off the left foot, don't get me wrong, it was pretty poor defence, but just the speed at which he did it, because he's so deceptive the way Cody Walker plays. Like, he almost walks to the line sometimes. He's very casual with it. Just when he went bang, I was like, oh, shit. I remember. He used to be a really good ball runner.
Yeah.
So Ward and Cody Walker are our service of the week. Absolutely massive guys. If you need a car, you speak to Luke. You give him a follow. LDC_01. You know the drill. Currently got an X sale on. You know the pricing, everything like that. You got a chance to be gifted an experience of a lifetime. Really, you get to watch the footy with Alex Glenn, Jarrell Yayi in a suite. So, but yeah, Leaguey, what'd you think, mate? The Rabbitohs and also Ward and Walker.
Yeah, well, during this game, I was playing in the charity match. I'm personally a little bit disappointed that Cody Walker's performance has overshadowed my own. I carved up as well, but apparently that's not newsworthy. I know, but look, on Ward, I mean, when you have so much size in the likes of David Fafita, Keon Kaloamatangi, Tavita Totola.
Fuck, Keon was good, sorry.
Yeah. But it could be a really potent weapon to have smaller players like Ward and Jai Gray just zipping around everywhere, being off the back of those offloads. That could be really, really potent, I reckon, for South Sydney. So that's exciting. I see the Cleary comparisons for sure. I was chatting to some people yesterday who said they felt that Jonah Glover was ahead until the injury. So it's going to be interesting when, Humphreys is back from suspension. You've got Glover, you've got Ward. Sullivan as well, I think, is out injured. There's a lot of people who could play in that 7 jersey.
I think right now it'd be almost a little bit unfair not to give Ward the crack after
what he did yesterday. Yeah, and if he's there the first 2 weeks and they're winning, it's not broken. You don't have to fix it.
I think it's going to be one of them write your own script moments where there's no doubt, well, there is doubt, but like out of the 4, no one's locked into that 7 position. But I think he was the 4th string, like 2 weeks ago. If you don't include injuries, he was definitely 4th string, in my opinion. But because that 7 jersey isn't locked in, if he has 2 good games, that jersey could be him for the whole year.
Yeah,
no, it's not about like picking the best 7. It's about winning games of football. If they're winning games of football with him there, you don't change it.
It's not like he hasn't played well in first grade before as well.
Yeah, he carved up the Dragons last year.
Yeah, so it's game. Mate, I thought he was great.
He forced 4 dropouts. I know dropouts aren't as relevant these days because that's a stupid rule, but it's not
better having than not.
Yeah,
you're better having the opportunity of getting the ball back than finishing with the ball in the corner kind of stuff.
The other thing that I loved about South Sydney in this game was that they used Brandon Smith for the first 20 minutes at hooker, then brought Mamazelis on.
Yeah.
I think it's the way to go.
Yeah, I'm with you. Initially, I was a bit against it, but it's like I just seeing Brandon Smith's buy-in kind of goes, okay, like, that's his role. He knows it's his role. He's balled all the way in, and it just gives an opportunity. Like, first 20, he does the business, and then maybe he comes back on and gets through the middle.
And I love seeing Mamazelis out there without his ass hanging out the back because he's exhausted from defending.
And it's a little bit like the whole Tino thing where it's like, I don't want Mamazelis is a crafty number 9 that can create opportunities, all that good stuff. Do we really need him making 50 tackles a game? I don't think so.
Yeah, Cheese loves that shit. Let him go.
Yeah, and also like Cheese is better in contact. Like he'll be able to hit blokes and stick. So, boys, Fafita, mate, I don't think you could ask for much more as a fan. Like outside of him coming out and fucking having 20 tackle breaks, mate, I thought he was great.
Yeah, he was unreal. I think he's one of those guys you can tell by his body language when he walks on the field, whether he's on, off, whatever it might be. And he was on for the moment. And he just looks excited to be playing rugby league again. Properly. Point
to prove, looks fit as anything. First run just going, boom, thanks for coming. Line break, boom, bumps for Laulau. I don't know if you could ask for much more.
Yeah, for him to be on in a trial game as well is a great sign of his mentality coming into this season. We've said that it can be very up or down, but all signs point towards him having a really dominant year, I think, on that edge.
The thing is, I know, sorry?
Hey, more runs than anyone in the South team. That's I know there was limited minutes, but that's including all the backs.
Yeah, the thing is, I know Dave Fafita can have a good year. I think that's almost, he can absolutely have a good year. The thing I want from Fafita is, I want good years the rest of your career.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to be exciting, hopefully. Because, if he has a good year this year, we'll go, yeah, it's David Fafita, guys. Let's remember who this guy is. Can we do it again the year after? Can we do it? Can we get your Origin jersey back? Can you get back in the Australian side if you want to play for Australia?
Gun to head for you right now. Does he play for Queensland this year?
I think he does.
Does he play for the Kangaroos this year?
I think he does. Look, I think the Queensland one's interesting because it just depends on what was the relationship like when he got dropped. Did Billy and co, and I don't know, but did they feel like he's a guy with a lot of talent, but he's not respecting what this is all about. He's not fully buying in. And will that hurt his chances of, reselection? Do they go, well, you had the opportunity, we're going to give someone else a crack, but if you keep going, you can't just have one good year back. We need 2 years good back, or so. You know what I mean? Depending on what that conversation is between Billy and Fafita. If the conversation is really positive of mate, I know that I probably wasn't as focused in here. I apologise, or whatever you want to do about it. That's when I think you may see him on the edge for Queensland.
Yeah, I wonder if he was at the Titans still and he was carving up. I actually reckon Billy would be a little bit hesitant. I just reckon under Wayne.
And getting feedback from Wayne too, really.
Yeah. I think that'll matter.
Yeah, that's fair. Because Wayne's not going to lie. He's not going to go, something he's not.
Yeah, back into the season. I mean, if he does play for the Kangaroos, he hasn't played for them before, but Tonga is a side who I think would be likely to line up for. He could have a brilliant year in the NRL and become an absolute staple in that World Cup, just dominating.
Hope he plays for Australia. Come on, Bruce.
Tonga adding for Fafita, that's crazy. Their fullbacks
you
already
got to
stacked.
see him play for Tonga.
You want to see him play for Tonga over Australia?
Absolutely.
What the fuck is going on with this generation? What the fuck? Are you serious?
The World Cup will be so much more entertaining.
I feel
they need more. Tonga need more forwards.
I
Australia
think they just lost Eli
forwards.
Katoa, so that's where I do feel a little bit sorry for him.
Oh, fuck.
Oh no, you'll have Angus Crichton and Liam Martin.
I'm old man yelling at clouds. I just bro, he was born here. What the fuck? Okay, fair enough.
If we get into this,
There's more to it than that, though.
Yeah.
No, there's not. He was born here. He loves his country. I'm an Australian. I wanted to play for Australia. That's it. That's the end of the story. They don't need to develop any more Tonga. If he was a half, then I could have the conversation. They got plenty of forwards. Forwards are not their issue.
So do Australia.
You don't think David Fafita on his day is better than essentially every back row that we've got?
Sure, but he's also better than all the Tongan players too.
Who's your starting? Right now, Angus Crichton, he's on the way out, so we don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
We've got Liam Martin potentially.
Look,
the depth is nowhere near.
I know
as
how much
big.
of a good player he is. I don't think we need to have that.
No, what I'm saying is the depth is nowhere near the same. Tonga's forward pack on paper depth is crazy. A lot of those guys on the bench would be in our starting side.
To be honest, I definitely argue Australia have more depth than Tonga.
In the forwards?
I think even in the forwards. It's similar.
Eli Katoa's not there now. Keon's already playing for the Kangaroos. I think Wong would be an edge for them probably.
Surely. So Tonga, we're going to have to sit here and fucking go through the side now. Look, put it this way. As an Australian, I want him to play for Australia, period. That's it. Like, obviously, if he plays for Tonga, I'm not going to hate him for it at all. Like it's his choice. I'm just saying, as an Aussie, I want him playing for Australia. What the fuck? It's so weird to hear like, yeah, I'd rather him play for another country. It blows my mind. It truly blows my mind. Obviously, I respect it's your opinion. But.
Yeah, I think it's very different in rugby league context. But anyway.
I'm halfway between you all. Like, I definitely, I'm not going to sit here and say I want him to play for Tonga, but I want him to be playing so good at the end of the year, he chooses, and then if he chooses Australia, I'm stoked, but if he plays for Tonga, I'm not.
But
I'm
I
not
don't
worried.
think rugby league is where it was 10 years ago, where you go, yeah, okay, Tonga need, the forward. And
Oh, it's not where it was, but I don't think it's completely on the other side.
No,
yet.
Kangaroos
It's
are still the
building
top
there.
dog.
Like, mate, you have a look at the last game they played. Eli Katoa was one of the back rowers. The other back rower was Finay Fuiaki. Like, I'm sorry, there aren't guys that are sitting on the bench for Tonga that are walking into the Kangaroo side.
Whereas Kangaroos
We're not
have-
at that point yet.
oh, wait a sec.
Young.
Read their bench out.
Dimitri Valmunga, who comes off the bench for the Warriors. Leka Halasima, who's on the bench for the Warriors at the moment.
Oh, come on. Leka Halasima, he's one of the best young guys in the competition. Like,
Okay, I'm just telling you where we just had a conversation with him on the podcast.
no, but so we don't know what it's been 2 trials. We don't know for sure where his form's at.
Okay. Felice Kafusi was coming off the bench. Siwa Wong was coming off the bench. Sonny Luke was coming off the bench.
The 9 roll, I'll grant the 9 roll
Yeah,
for sure.
like I get what you're saying, but I think we're moving to that point. I don't think we're at that point. I think that's outrageous, personally.
I'm not saying we're at that point yet, but you said you'd rather him play for Tonga. That's what he said.
Absolutely.
Like, that to me is mind-blowing. We are further enough along to want one of our best forwards to play for this country that we were born in. Like that.
But that's because me personally, I care way more about rugby league doing well.
Oh, you
than
weren't born in
the
Australia
Kangaroos.
too, weren't you?
No, I was.
Oh, you were. Okay, but you moved over to.
to the Netherlands when I was
Netherlands.
6. But still, yeah, I'm Australian. My connection to Australia is
Yeah.
strong.
Oh,
But
man, I'd
if
still
you
find it.
have Yo starting at lock for the Kangaroos, you can have Murray on the edge. You can have Hudson
I'd have
Young
Murray.
on the
I'd have
edge.
Murray starting, and I'd have you off
Yeah.
the bench as the front row.
But
But anyway,
the depth is there. It's more than Siwa Wong and Halasine. They're
Heaps
more
more.
established.
Yeah.
I will say with that Tongan bench you read, and I'm going to sound like I'm, but there were people I think that were injured. I think for that Tongan side that couldn't play or something like that. But point taken. However, I do think we are. If I'm being honest, you know what? I'll go even further. At no point would I ever want the best player to play for another country over Australia. At no point. That's my opinion. Like, if they do, that's good. It's good for the game. But I don't, like, for example, when people were like, I'm happy Tonga beat Australia. It's great for the game. Like, it's good, but I still want Australia to win.
I'll say this now, and this won't move many fans. If the Kangaroos don't win a game in the World Cup, I'd be happy about that.
That's probably a step too far.
Yeah, no.
We've gone two
I'm
extreme
talking about it from
directions.
like a development point of view of the international game. I think it's unreal when you have got these players that want to go and represent their heritage on the lower tier nations.
I
to
think
lift
it's
them up.
I think it's good for sure. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you still want, if they were born in this country, you still want them to represent the country that I was born in. Like, I think national pride trumps, like, doesn't fully trump, but we're further enough along trumps, okay, hope that develops another nation kind of thing. I think we're further
Yeah,
enough along
but
for that.
that isn't all there is to it, though. There is also, like, that is their heritage. They're representing their family.
But that's their choice. We're talking about what I care about. So you're talking about they're representing their family. It matters to them. To me, what I care about is Australia. Like, I'm talking from my opinion. I'm not saying Fafita is wrong for wanting to represent Tonga if he wants to. What I'm saying is, as an Australian, I want him. The statement that he made was, I would rather him play for Tonga. That to me is an outrageous statement as an Australian. That's my opinion.
World Cup is going to be so fun. So fun.
Like,
These
I'm not
chats.
saying I wouldn't be, he can do that, support him all the way. It's good for the game. But there's in no world would I ever want the best back. Let's say he does become the best back rower this year. The best back rower that was born in this country, that I would want him to play for another nation. That I just never would feel that way. I'd never feel that way. It's truly. I'm the old guy. It just blows my mind hearing that.
Just the way he spoke about playing for Tonga in 22, I feel like, I know he can change now because it's been so long. He did pick Tonga back then, so he probably will pick Tonga. But yeah, as an Australian, if he comes out and says, I want to represent Australia, nothing would fill me with more pride. But if he plays for Tonga, I'll be equally like, it's good
The
for the
thing
game.
is, I don't. You got to split the two things. Him playing for either country, I won't think less of him at all. My personal want as an Australian is, if you were born in this country and you love this country, I would hope that you would play for Australia. From my perspective, but from his perspective, the decision to play for Tonga, fully respect it and understand that his heritage is extremely important to him. But as if I don't want the best players playing for Australia. I'm Australian, like through and through. That's all I am, Australian. So that's just, yeah. And again, we're getting further down the line when really the initial response was, I would rather him play for Tonga.
We've both gone more extreme.
Yeah, we're going further away from the initial statement, which was where the reaction came from. I would rather him play for Tonga and you're an Australian. It's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority. Maybe the game's passed me by, Roo. Maybe the game's passed me by.
And I'm a pretty extreme international rugby league guy, so
it shocks me, honestly. It just shocks me as an Australian would say that. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, but everyone's got their own opinion. It's all good.
Would you say it in other sports?
no. Yeah. No, it's just
I think
a
that's
rugby
the
league thing.
context that matters. But yeah,
And see, that's where we're at different opinions. I still believe your country of birth and everything like that, for me personally, trumps all that. Like, for me personally, in my decision of like who I want playing for our nation, it trumps, if he's the best back row in the world. Now, if he's not the best back row in the world and he's like on the fringes and he could go away with Australia instead of playing for Tonga, obviously go and play. That's when it comes into consideration of, okay, the game's growing. Yeah, okay, you want to play for Australia, but you're going to make the extended squad, so you're not going to get game time. Okay, go play for Tonga if it means a lot to you or whatever. But if he's the best back rower in the country, me personally, I want him playing for Australia if he wants to play for Australia. I would never ever say I would want him to play for another country. But it's just different generations, I think. I'd love to get your thoughts. What do you think, guys? What do you think? Do you think it's, I guess, normal? Not normal, but what's your opinion?
Should I be deported? That is the question.
No, don't be silly. I do think as generations go and the younger generations be brought up in a more multicultural society, there is a bit of a more open view on this kind of stuff. For example, I don't think I'm as patriotic as my grandparents.
yeah.
But I do look to them and what they did, and it connects me stronger to this nation.
Yes.
So there's that. Anyway.
Yeah, and I think on certain things I'm very patriotic on that. But in rugby league, I look at it as the bigger picture of what's going to make
Well, I
the
guess
game.
let's ask you the question: would you rather him play for Tonga than Australia? That's because that's the basis of what this response was from.
You know what? Probably as a whole, yeah, I think I would for the sake of the game.
All right, I got one for you. Were you happy when Keon moved from Tonga to Australia last year? That goes for all of you on the panel.
No, I was quite...
Because I liked it. I liked that he played for Tonga, and I liked that he helped build that up, but I also liked that he played for Australia.
And when he made that decision, I was like, oh, that's who he wants to play for. Good on him. I have no issue with it. But I do look at it from an international rugby league point of view. If we're at a World Cup and Keon's running around for Tonga, I think it makes it a more interesting World Cup.
Yeah, I guess. I think where we probably differ is my, old school approach of like country trumps rugby league. Yours is probably rugby league trumps country.
Only because international rugby league has been so shit for my entire life. We put on these comps and they're rigged so that two teams play each other. Like I think that's cop out.
I just think that like I feel like we've come far enough, especially with those teams, to like.
I think it'll be we've come far enough when guys are like delaying surgeries in off seasons and stuff to play for the Kangaroos, which I don't feel like has been the reality for the last 20 years.
That's a big thing that hasn't been happening yet. But the other thing with coming far enough, I mean, we're talking about these teams at the top, but like, for instance, I was part of the Netherlands Rugby League for about 10 years. So I'm biased towards that and just wanting them to get all the opportunities possible, those really like lower nations. So every time I see a player choose to play for a smaller nation, I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I think for me, like, your nation trumps everything. That's my opinion. Like your nation and your state, or I guess I know it's different. You might move states when you're younger. I understand that the conversation can get more complex, but for me, if your nation is almost the deepest tie you have to anything outside of your family, like, so yeah, I guess maybe it's because I grew up playing soccer, so there's that different kind of like. Whereas you guys grew up watching and being a part of rugby league, but yeah,
I actually think that's plays a role. Genuinely, because I think when you have a look at international soccer and whatnot, it's very different to what we've like. I want international rugby league to be like that.
See, like for example, that's why I connect so strong with what Jerome Hughes said. I got so much respect for that.
Yeah, so do I.
By saying there's a chance where I could have gone into the Origin arena. I've got every right to. I was potentially before 13. I know it's iffy, when you arrived or whatever, but I was there. I qualify. But he was like, bro, I'm a Kiwi.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking Kiwi. I'm Māori. That's like the respect I have for that shit because I just connect so strong with it. You know, that's just me.
Yeah, and as I said, I think 2.5 hours ago when we were talking about that, I'm interested to see what the version of Jerome Hughes is in 20 years when he's probably going to be brought through some Queensland pathways and all that sort of stuff because he is going to be allowed to do that. I'm interested to see how it does.
As in that version of Jerome Hughes.
Yeah, like a Jerome Hughes in 20 years' time who's in the same situation.
Yeah.
But he could have played for Queensland and New Zealand at 17.
And he's seen other people do it as well.
Seen other people do it, there's new pathways.
I would say, you know, I will say especially like when I went over to Europe, like their patriotism compared to us, and this is like getting a bit further outside of footy, but I do think that patriotism is nowhere near as strong as the generations have come before us. Like this idea that this is my country, you know, if it all comes down to it, I'm on the front line, but all that kind of stuff. I do feel like nowadays the world has become so globalized that you can kind of move in between. They're not as connected to that potentially, like at least from observation perspective. I don't know if that's actually factually correct.
Well, and Australia particularly though, because we're such a multicultural society, we've welcomed immigrants throughout our history. So you get a cultural mixing bowl that doesn't have that clear identity.
See, that's where I sound like an old person. I'm like, your identity is to Australia. Like it gave you all these opportunities. Anyway, getting outside of footy. Who else stood out for you guys? The Rabbitohs.
I know already. Wow. Just move on. But deep about the identity culturally of Australia, we're like, you know what? Geez, I thought Ashton Moore was bloody good.
He was bloody good.
Not ready for it.
It was bloody good. Fuck, you know what's fucking annoying? It's like, I thought this would clear the eligibility chat up. And now we're still talking now we're still talking about origin eligibility fucking after it. But anyway, all right, that's it. Rabbitohs, outstanding. What more could you ask? Tips for the weekend coming up. Face the music. Brought to you by Sportsbet. Let's get into it. It is, sorry boys, 2 secs. Okay. Give us a follow on the feed, guys. All the multis will be coming in this week, so you'll be able to check them out. Multis in regards to try scores, all that good stuff. It's on my feed. Give us a follow. Give Hammy a follow. All right, Knights v. the Cowboys. I'm going Cowboys 13+.
I am going to go the Cows 1-12.
Yeah, I'd follow in Cows 1-12.
I'm going to give Knights the 4.5 start.
It's only 4.5. Okay, interesting. Okay. Bulldogs versus the Dragons. I'm going to go Bulldogs 1-12.
Yeah, Doggies 1-12 for me.
Dogs 1-12.
Dogs -6.5.
Okay. I think that's it, really.
Yep.
That's it. Okay, that's us done and dusted. Make sure to give Rule a follow. Give Leagy a follow. Thanks for joining us again, Leagy. Appreciate it. Well, I'll be away to Vegas, so if I can call in next week, I will. Otherwise, you know, Timmy will probably host, or we'll see. We'll try and make it work. But as usual, we'll all go fuck ourselves. Thank you.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.